Hey, what is going on, everybody? This your boy Ron coming to you at another lovely Tuesday night. As far as this bad boy goes for the Melanated Council, one time, and we try to go live. Typically, we go live every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then wherever else you're at in the world, in this whole beautiful world of ours, that's where you can find us live. And as always, please like, subscribe, enjoy the show, and comment, do whatever you got to do. And even if you catching this on a replay, again, feel free to come on in and vibe out with us and chill and hang out with us. Have a good time. Have a good, lovely time. All right. So, without further ado, like I said, my name is Ron. I am the 1/3 portion of the Melanated Council. We have two other people who are more than welcome, or probably they'll be showing up. They'll be showing up soon. So as they are getting beautified, handsomeified, readyfied, whatever, bonafide before they come on the stream, I am going to take the reins for a little bit, and hopefully y'all can hear me, because earlier I was doing some work and my microphone, for whatever reason, was not working. Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay, I'm gonna turn me up just a little bit. There we go. Boom shakalaka. So was doing some work trying to create an intro, outro for our live stream for the church. And yes, my church, we do some live streams. And my computer wasn't picking up any of the audio. So me and the one guy who is helping me, or the younger guy who's helping me out, we're trying to figure out what to do, how to do it, how to figure it out. I'm pulling my hair and couldn't figure it out. So I'm looking through all my settings, doing everything. And so I'm like, okay, let me check this one section. Like, okay, yeah, you check the one section. And so as I am checking this section, sure enough, it was linked up to another program that also has access to my microphone. And so I did this, the dope. And so I went ahead, changed it, and got everything working. So yeah, so now everything is cool, calm and collective. Let's see what's been going on with me on my end. So from last week Saturday, the kids won. We won our first football game of the season. Whoop whoop. So we went 1-5 for the season, and the kids loved it. The kids have fun. The team we played was, to me, it looked like a pretty young team, and I kind of get it. They were still, working out the kinks and the bugs and all this other good stuff, which I get it. As a coach, is like in versus going against the other coach, like I get it. He worked hard all season, and this is what happens. But again, I get it. I get it. Even talking to the other coaches around on the other teams for the different leagues and whatnot, they're like, yeah, we had a good time, had fun, and everything else, had a blast. And so the two directors, they asked me if I wouldn't mind coaching next year. And I told them, like, listen, I'm all for it. Like, even then I was going to hand them my badge, tell them, like, hey, here's my badge, I'm done for the season. They're like, no, you keep that because we want you to come back next year, if that's all right with you. I'm like, sure, why not? Whatever. I don't mind. I don't care. I like football. I like playing football. I like, teaching these kids how to play football. So I was like, cool, great. So we did that. Then yesterday we had our skating party, and hey, what's Gucci Rocky? Hey. Yes. And Rocky, I'm going to apologize to you because I missed the virtual round table talk that you host and have and partake in, and I set the reminder for myself to get on. My Sunday went from bruh, I ain't going to the league. Nah. However, my oldest, he's joking. He made a joke. He said this. He said, Daddy, he said, if you keep this up, it's like they might just recruit you for the middle school football team, especially if you mess around the next season you coach and you have a winning season next season, and then all the other seasons that come afterwards you have a winning season. They might just bump you up. I'm like, man, listen, I ain't trying to catch that smoke right now. I'm just happy that, the kids that I had, they had fun. They had a blast. They're all coming back, and they're all going to. Well, I know half the team is coming back. The other half of the team is moving up to the 5th and 6th grade division, and so I'm excited for them. I'm super excited for them. I'm also super excited for the ones that are coming back. Hey, Chad. Hey, young Chad is in the mix. So we won. 30-0. We won 30-0. And so per the league, because I coached 3rd and 4th grade, once any team is up 3 scores and the other team has nothing, then what we are supposed to do as a team is run the football up the middle as possible. So pretty much from tackle to tackle, those are all the areas we're supposed to run through. We can't run outside tackle. We can't do nothing off tackle. It's from tackle, guard, center, guard to tackle. Anything all inside, anything outside we can't do. We can't even do pass plays. So that's out the question. That is out the question. So, the team, they're like, yeah. I'm totally, hey, we can't run outside. We got to run right up the gut, right up the middle. They're like, oh, do we have to? Like, yes. So quarterback, bless his heart, the quarterback calls for a jet sweep, okay? And I'm yelling on the sideline, no, you can't do that. No. All the parents are yelling, they're like, yeah. I'm like, no. They're like, why? Like, we were up 3 touchdowns. We can't run outside. We can't do nothing outside. Well, why not? That's the rules for the league. That's the rules. And so, of course, the guy who got the ball, he scored the touchdown, but it got called back. And so we got slapped with the unsportsmanship like penalty. So we had to move the ball back from where we were at. We had to move it back 15 yards. And I told the quarterback, like, hey, come here. I told you guys we can't do this. No, run up the middle. But do we have to? Yes, we have to. But we're not going to get any yards. It doesn't matter. We're already up 3 touchdowns. We got like 28 points, okay? We got 28. We got 28, all right? Why add insult to injury? Do we have to? Yes, you're going to have to run the ball up the middle. And so, like, can we do pass plays? We can't do it. We like no pass plays. We can't do pass plays. It's run the ball up the middle, run the ball up the middle. No ifs, ands, buts about it. Run the ball up the middle. So, did that. That was the Saturday's game. Yeah, basically. And again, like I said before, the other team, they were fairly new. It looked like they were a fairly new team. And even then, I know one of the other 3rd and 4th grade teams, they put a beating on them like 2-3 weeks ago, 44-0. And so we're like, you know what? Can't do that to them. So, all right, y'all, listen. I got to cut my story short because we got some folks who are here and ready to mingle. Yeah. So I got to go in order. Of who came first. I'm sorry. So the first person who came in, the second person who came in, who's going to make this second addition to this trio, y'all know him. He's AKA Mr. Steal Your Girl. He's AKA I got concubines coming in and making me food and dessert and all this good stuff. He's AKA the smooth one. Y'all know him. Y'all give it up for Toby. Y'all give it up for Toby. Hey,
What is up? Appreciate y'all. What's going
hold
on?
on. I know what's good, but hold on, because I gotta do this too. I gotta do this too, because this other person, y'all love this one. Y'all love her. If y'all don't love her tonight, y'all gonna love her tonight. She is a wonderful person, a wonderful human being, one of the sweetest girls I've known so far, and she keeps it real. And if she had to, she will probably pull you through her computer screen and punch you in your jugular herself. No ifs, ands, buts about it. And so, without further ado, y'all go ahead and give a lovely round of applause for the one and only L. Let's go.
Yay! Good evening.
Hey,
The Triforce is now
it's
completed.
Leo.
Hoorah!
Yes.
Yeah.
My Wi-Fi is being kind of buggy, so
Oh, you're stuck. I hear you,
Oh.
but you're
Ah,
pixelated like a old school retro
that's
video
one.
game.
Give
Man.
me 1 second. I'm gonna remove myself.
I'm dead.
Okay. All right, let's see. Hold on.
Yeah, good to see lovely people in the chat.
Yes.
My good friend Deanna. I love all of y'all. Trust me, but it's always nice to see people
Yes.
who you
It's always
personally.
good. Hold on.
Chat.
We gotta.
What's up, Rocky?
Okay, Toby in the
Hey.
house. Mm-hmm.
I love the hype. I appreciate it for real. Hopefully L energy is up tonight. Yes.
Yes.
I love
Toby.
these names.
Yes, I'm telling y'all.
The voice. Wait, why is there?
Oh,
Hey,
what? Hey, what's good? What's good?
Hey, look, and you're early.
Right.
No shade, but I mean you're on California time, so I can't blame people from the West Coast. Wait, what do you mean question mark? This is their first comment that we saw in the chat. I was like, let's do it again. Roll it back from the top, make it drop. That's well, you can fill in the blank.
Let's see. Show me some love, Julie. You already
course.
know. Like
Well,
right
we
in here.
can't see our viewers though. We can't see who's actually viewing unless you comment. Unfortunately, at Twitch you can, right? But on YouTube, you have no idea. Kind of. That's even shaky. But if you're watching us, you're what do you call it? You're not a stalker. That's aggressive. If you're a lurker, we won't know that you're there unless you show yourself. Step out.
You got to say. I was gonna say at least show us some little bit of love. At least show us a little bit of love. But I'm done talking about my week, how my week was going. Toby, go ahead. I am going to run some diagnostics really quick, and yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Also, is there Chad? Do you have a burner account? Well, first, since B Julia messaged us by name, she called me out by my name. She's like, Toby. No, it's all love. It's all good. I don't know what this is. Sorry. I mean, I have multiple accounts. I'm not even gonna pretend that I have like an ungodly amount of YouTube accounts. Probably like bordering on 5 or 6, but I really only use 2 of them. So I can't talk about having multiple accounts. But listen, if the binoculars fit, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm just kidding. But no. On to less stocky things. Let's talk about what I did this weekend.
Yes.
Tired of the Grand C, no multiples. Oh, interesting. Yeah. It's like the generic. That's what Google does with everything. That's even my contacts. I have a Samsung phone, but I guess it's similar to like how you have the different color circles on your contact, and you'll see like that initial, right? So if you have multiple C's, and you have to almost remember, wait, who's the green C versus who's the red one? Unless they have a profile picture, which none of my contacts on my phone really have a profile pic. Any case, So I kind of get what you're saying. Now, onto what I did this weekend. Tuesday was, of course, our stream. I feel like I did something between Tuesday and Friday, but I'm a little shaky on what that was. I know on Friday I went to a boogie. See, it was so uneventful that I forgot I even went. I went to a boogie with yo, that's great. I'm gonna capture that. I'm gonna capture that because that's so true. The weekday and the weekend, they're like night and day.
Day and night.
Day and night. So I saw a boogie with a hoodie, which was okay. I actually wore this exact hoodie. Like I haven't been wearing it like a bunch. It was actually fresh in my closet. I pulled it out. I was like, are they gonna let me in? It's Boston. It's like a nice relative venue, but I guess concerts they don't really care what you wear as long as it's not like, dangerous, whatever. So I wore the hoodie because it's a boogie with a hoodie, and it was okay. I mean, he performed for like 20 minutes, if even. Well, he probably went up to 30, but it was short. Like it was fine, but he showed up at like 12:30ish, and he finished before 1. I was like, what? And then the rest of the hour was just like kind of like a party in the concert hall, but like most people left like pretty aggressively, like got out of there. And so for the last hour, it's like, okay, there's like less than half of the crowd that was here. And then people just kept draining. And I was like, what the heck? And the tickets at one point were $200 something on the day of. I bought mine originally for like 80 something. And then with Ticketmaster fees, it went to like $102. I then found a cheaper ticket for 60 something that with all the fees got to like $80 or $90. So I ended up buying that cheaper ticket so I could sell the more expensive one. And I low-key was just like, I just need to make my money back. The tickets went up to like $200. I could have actually made like an $80 profit if I was actually greedy. But I was like, I'm just going to sell my ticket price because I never sold tickets on Ticketmaster. I've only bought. And I've bought resale tickets. Hey, what's up, my boy? My guy?
Hey. What's going on?
Don't do that. So like it was interesting. Speak for yourself. Wait, what do you mean speak for yourself? I'm just looking at the old message that Chad had put up here. Probably about the comment I was making about my the anonymous C. No, actually, this is no, this is actually there's really good ways to make money if you know a ticket's in high enough demand and you can buy early enough. The problem though is you're not going to make the money back pretty like Ticketmaster doesn't credit you until like a week after. I actually got my money within a few days. It didn't take a week. But like if you buy tickets months in advance, you just know you're not getting that money back officially through that platform. You might be able to resell it elsewhere, especially if you're like outside a venue. I guess that's what scalping is that B. Julia mentioned. And I've never done it, but I know people do it at sport games and stuff. So I'm like, maybe I should look into this as like an actual hustle. But you also don't want to buy tickets and be left holding the bag. So you have to be kind of smart. And apparently there's tickets that are priced in bulk where like you might have like 5-10 rows that are all priced the same. So you can actually make more money on the front rows because they're same price as the back rows, but you can probably resell them for a more expensive price because people are going to want to be closer up. So I was looking at it and I was like, this is interesting. Like people have done some serious research on this. And why have I not like known about this? Because if I really knew, I could have bought these tickets for mad cheap and then the resale price could have been way out the door. So I only resold it to cover my fees. So I didn't make a profit besides like 30 cents. But I'm like, dang, I could have put it up for $150 or $180 and been greedy. But anyway, that was okay. I didn't really do much after that. I just went home. Saturday was whatever. I can't remember what I did. Oh, I went and saw this Nigerian artist, CK. He has a very viral song that's like on TikTok. Like you've probably heard it on TikTok and Reel called Love One T2. And it's been remixed to death. So in fact, I'll type that in the chat because it's not easy to spell if you don't know how to spell it. So wait, you said isn't scalping illegal? Is that just where you like buy the ticket and then you sell it like at the door for like? In fact, sometimes people don't even sell it for that much of a profit. They just sell it for like a little bit more. I don't know. I didn't know about scalping being illegal. Can you short tickets that you think will go down in value? Yo, that's hilarious. Which is funny because I actually have seen tickets go down in value, and I'm like, wait a second, what the heck? Even sometimes I've bought tickets on the day of the concert, and they were cheaper than they were weeks before. Now they won't be nearly as cheap as they were when you first got on sale, but I'm like, this is so weird. I would love to see the data map of like the timing of these concert tickets based on location and genre, and see what the trends are. But anyway, I saw this Nigerian artist. It was cool. It was a really small venue, and the tickets I got were mad cheap. Similarly, I bought tickets for like $30-something plus the fee, and then I got a 10-20% off discount code later. So I then bought another ticket. The ticket sold out, and a friend of mine happened to text me asking if I had a ticket, and I was like, I do. So I sold it to him at a fair price. I was like, my ticket was like 36 something, so you can just pay me 37. He ended up sending me 40, so I was like, okay, that's cool. And then the cheaper ticket I bought for like 20 something dollars. That wasn't Ticketmaster. That was Ticket Web, which is just a pretty basic platform. There's no reselling mechanics. But those tickets were cheap. But the after party for seeing CK in Boston was $40 if you didn't buy in advance. And even if you do buy in advance, it was like 30. So I was like, you guys are kind of bugging a little bit. But the artist was there at the after party. It was just like a restaurant club. I think it might be black owned. It's called Yas Chicken. Because, you know, Yas for chicken. Yes with an A. Like where, you know, like you get it. But that spot, the artist was there. He didn't sing, which is fine. He gave us a whole concert before, but he was literally there behind the DJ booth at one point, just chilling. And like his music would play, and then everyone would start singing, and he would just chill with the sunglasses. And I was like, I wish that I could be an artist and just like show up to like parties where my music is playing. I don't even have to sing. And then Sunday, I went out to Lowell because some friends of mine had a birthday. I mostly stayed in, did some car. Oh, that was what I forgot. I actually went car shopping on Saturday. I test drove a 2019 Hyundai Sonata.
Okay.
Which, you know, it's not a bad car. My first time driving a Sonata. I've actually driven a lot of Elantras for my renting. Not a lot. I've driven like one Elantra for like 2 months. That was early when I totaled my car back in March. So that car, the 2020 Elantra, you know, it wasn't a bad car. Some things about it that I wasn't in love with. But I figure the Sonata is the more spacious cabin, kind of like a Toyota Camry or Honda Accord. So I figured this might be a nice one to try. And it wasn't bad. It drove really smooth. I gave it I didn't even know people did this, but they gave me the test drive unsupervised. So I literally drove like to my work office. I drove back. I actually went to my apartment. I got my roommate. I asked her to help me like check some stuff out for the car. So I drove to my apartment. I basically picked her up. Then I went to my office, which was like 18 minutes away. Then I drove back on the back roads, so that way I could kind of test both the highway and the local roads. So I literally like drove in like a big circle type thing, and I was like easily gone for over an hour. So I was like, I hope these people don't think I stole the car. But I was like, I didn't know you, because I saw memes that were like, gas is so much that I'm gonna go test drive cars and run errands. And I was like, I don't really get it, because you test drive the car and the person's right there with you. That was like early when gas prices were going crazy, like in the springtime. And I was like, now I'm like, okay, I get it. I didn't realize that that's a new thing. Or maybe it's because I'm a little older now. When I first bought my first car, I was 23. I was 24. I had just moved to Massachusetts. I had just turned 24 like 2 months before. Maybe it's like, you know, you're a young driver and just overall they want to monitor you. I don't know. It could be a variety of things, but they were really chill about it. But I was like, I don't want to pay this much money. It was almost 21,000, and I was like, I'm good. Like that's not terrible. Much better price than what I would have found for a Camry or an Accord easily. I could have been paying 25,000 for a 2019 Accord or a 2019 Camry, like literally 25,000 or 22,000 by minimum. So getting it for 20,000, like 995. Some people might have seen that as a steal, but it didn't even have one of the features, the rear cross traffic, which is one of my top features, along with the blind spot sensing. Those are like the two low-key non-negotiable safety features that I need. And they're always extra. So the fact that it comes included on the Sonata, like the Sonata and Elantra SEL trims, it comes included is really good. But it wasn't working when I had my roommate walk behind the car to test the sensors. And I showed them that, and they were kind of like, oh, well, maybe it wasn't turned on. I was like, no, it is turned on. That's fine. And then I had the guy prove it when I came back to the dealership. And he's like, oh, yeah, you're right. We'll get this looked at. However, he wasn't really willing to give me any discount on the price for the fact that the freaking sensor wasn't working. He just said like we can sort of, we can do a deposit, or we can essentially hold the car for you. We'll take it to the mechanic, not just the mechanic, but someone who can inspect all the technical parts. So like an actual technician on Monday, and they can take a look at it. But I was like, you guys aren't willing to come down in price at all. I don't know. I was like, I've seen some other cars, basically the same car or similar for cheaper. And so I just, I was talking with them for a while, but it didn't look like there was any maneuverability to even get under 20,000. So I was like, and it was a certified car. That's the only real positive of it. It was a certified pre-owned. So it would have better protection than like, let's say I buy the same Elantra from a Honda or Toyota dealership. Then it's a little more shaky because there's no certification. But I was like, I don't know if I want to pay this. So I walked out, which felt pretty good. I don't know. Like, I've heard people say this about Hyundai, but I feel like I trust Hyundai a lot more than Nissan, which is the second. That's one of the other brands that's sort of outside the big two of Toyota and Honda. People like Nissans. I was not the biggest fan when I drove my Nissan for rentals. Like, it's not bad. In fact, it looks kind of nice on the inside. Hyundai, like a lot of the Nissans, looked really nice on the inside. Hyundai is a little cheaper, I think, with their materials. The infotainment system is not as sharp. I wouldn't say the infotainment, but like the settings is a little bit weird how you access them. I mean, of course, but I need a car regardless, right? So in terms of sorry, I'm like not fully clicking these things. Convo feels very adulty. I need therapy. I mean, I get it. A 35-year-old dad. I'm dead. And I'm the youngest one here too. I'm not even 30.
And like a 35-year-old dad isn't even like old.
Yeah.
He's a pretty young dad.
I'm dead. I'm also trying to follow along the chat now, and I'm seeing there's a bunch of stuff. But I'll wrap up the story and overall say that like I'm looking at other cars that look really. Actually, I've seen some crazy good deals, like even over $20,000, but where the price is down $3,000 or $4,000. I feel unimpressed by the performance. I'm dead. I mean, no, the Sonata handled very well. Like, it drove very comfortably. I've never driven a Sonata, and I was like, this feels very good. Like, I would feel comfortable driving this. But, the resale value is not always great. I will admit, for Hyundai, like Honda Civics, Mazda 3s are some of the best cars you can resell. Toyotas are super reliable, but they don't seem to have as high of a resale value as Honda or Mazda.
They do. Wait, you said what doesn't have a high resale?
Toyota isn't as high ranked for their resale value compared to Honda. Well, at least a Honda Civic and a Toyota Corolla. Toyota Corolla easily beats a Civic or a Mazda 3. Well, Civic and Mazda 3 both have pretty similar resale values, but Corolla doesn't make the top 10 list for resale cars. But they're so reliable that it probably doesn't matter, right? The reliability beats the Honda, definitely. I mean, Honda's good, but Toyota is kind of famous for reliability. So, I kind of have shifted to probably trying to buy a Hyundai. So that's kind of my big takeaway. I've heard that people steal them, though. Apparently, the Hyundai and Kia brands, there's this TikTok trend where the Kia boys would go like steal cars. Yeah, I was gonna say this was like not that far from you. Well, that's not true. It's not. It's a neighboring state. It was Milwaukee, Wisconsin, that has like over 70% of the car thefts were Hyundai and Kias, because there's a way that you can hack in. Break the rear, you can like break the back panel without the alarm going off. You can put a USB in to the car, and then you can actually jack it. And apparently there's people on TikTok would like find their car because they would find it missing, then they would find it in some lot destroyed or stuff ripped out. And it was, I don't know, my friend was trying to convince me not to buy a Hyundai because of that, but I rented one for 2 months. A good friend of mine had a Kona, which is a pretty good SUV. So I'm just like, listen.
Yeah, like no matter which car you get, there's going to be a chance no matter what. Like, this is the first I'm hearing that Hyundai and Kia is getting stolen a lot. Like, Hondas are always known to get, stolen, and, it's like the most stolen vehicle. And that's what I drive and what a lot of people drive. I'm not saying like I'm just careless and, what have you about it, but like, it's just like, you just got to be as careful as possible. And because like, what are you going to do? Just like buy like some some junk on wheels just so it doesn't get stolen. I mean, that's an option too. I'm not knocking it. You know.
Yeah. I mean, some people might just want to buy an older car, maybe a little junky to get through, but I'm like, you know what? If I can actually find a decent car, I can even find a car under 20,000, which is a miracle. I didn't think that was ever going to happen. But now I'm seeing like $18,500 2020 Hyundai Elantra SEL, and the SEL trim has a lot of the safety features built in. It's a 2020 car, so it's already going to be nicer than 2019. Like, there's a pretty big difference between 2018, 19, and then the 2020 models. So, which was the one that I that I rented back in like the spring. So I feel pretty confident I can get a good car under 20,000, or if it's over 20,000, I can like do some aggressive shopping. Shout out to Car Gurus. I wasn't using these car search websites properly, but now that I am, I'm like, yo, there's some insane deals. You have to kind of watch out for low mileage, for high mileage, I mean, and of course, old history that's not super great, like accidents. But the ones that look clean title, Carfax seems good, and the mileage isn't crazy. I mean, some cars are insane. Like I've seen a 2021 Mazda CX-30 for 40,000 miles. I'm like, how did you get 40,000 miles in 1 year? This is a 2021 car. Why are there 40,000 miles on this car? Are you running drugs? Like that has to be my question to the old owners. Were you driving between Boston and Florida running drugs? Because first of all, did you hide any in the car? What's the value so I can sell it? I didn't say that on camera. And then what other problems? It's okay. If my job watches this, I'll just say I'm cosplaying for Halloween. So I think when it comes to like these older cars, these newer cars, it's kind of a gamble, but I won't take all the time talking about that. Hopefully by next week I've bought a car because I could have walked out with it that day on Saturday. So I feel a little more empowered on how to go through the process, and easily by the end of the month, I think I'll have a vehicle, even maybe by end of this week. But I don't know. It depends because I have some other stuff I have to take care of outside of work. And then, yeah, that is my life. Curtis Johnson. I didn't say that on camera.
Yeah, he said that. He said that.
Yeah, we were there.
So we were there.
Yes.
That's crazy.
I mean, even the folks on Twitch heard that one. So, I mean, bro, it's not looking good for you, Toby. It's not good for you.
All right.
Well, I'll let y'all know about. I'll report back to you next week about what my job says.
Ha!
Yeah.
There you go. And then, Medea, right here.
Me, so my Wi-Fi is bugging. So, well, like my Wi-Fi is fine. It's just the StreamYard is saying it's fucked up. So I'm like, actually did a like a test, one of the speed tests. Like that's probably why I was looking like really quiet and really upset. It's like, no, well, I am upset because of the Wi-Fi, but. Like, I hope I'm coming in clear, because this is going to be annoying. Okay, because it's, like, at the lowest of the low, of the, like, giving me the Wi-Fi, like, warning signal. And, like, I did the speed test, and it said it was fine. And, like, I, like, put my work laptop in the other room. It's like, I don't know if that's somehow taking up some Wi-Fi. It usually doesn't. I turned the Wi-Fi on my phone off for a while to see if that's going to do anything. Like... I turned off my Wi-Fi and turned it back on. I plugged out the little Wi-Fi extender thing and plugged it back in. Like I did everything short of just totally restarting my computer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Am I coming in okay?
I mean, you are. It's like I hear you better than I can see you.
Okay. I'm not really moving much, so maybe.
I mean, it's very noticeable that there's like frozen frames, like where it's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying, Ron.
All right.
But I'm pretty sure as long as you hear us in real time and we hear you in real time, at least.
Yeah. What I can do is I could just move to the next room. Ron, did you speak? Or did you share about your? You did. I saw some of the comments.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's just left for me. So hold on 1 second. I apologize.
No, you're good. You're good.
I was going through this
So
nonsense.
while Elle is going through her her things, Toby, I'm coming for you.
What's up?
I'm coming for you. Just
Give me
because I wanted to say something. No, so you were talking about like Milwaukee and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like a neighbor. It's kind of like a neighbor because the only thing separating us is like Michigan, really. So that's really it. But no, but even in even here in Michigan, we've heard about that. Like there are some people out in Grand Rapids who are telling me that people's Kia, like the newer model Kias, were getting stolen into, and this is that and the third. I'm like, holy crap, for real? They're like, yeah. I'm like, well, it's a good thing that I have a 2009 car, which is not existing anymore, but I do see a lot more of my of the same kind of brand and model of my car, a lot more, which is cool. And so it's like reassuring and whatnot. And even then, like when I bought my car, I bought it off of I found it off of Auto Trader. And again, it's a 2009. So I bought it in 2020, and it only had like 143,000 miles on there. They were only asking for like 9,000. So like I was like, you know, I'm gonna pay that in cash because like, you know, I can. I wanted at the time I had the money for it. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and pay for it in cash. Like just because, you know, and it's to me, it's a really, really good car, really solid car. I think it's time last year I hit the 150,000 mile marker. I hit that. And right now I'm at 153,000, but it still runs like a charm. I know the two big things that I want to get done is I know I want to get my engine revamped for sure. I want to get my engine revamped so I can have it on the same level as the Camaro ZL ones. That's going to be my next thing. And then number two is what I want to do is put on performance shocks and struts. That's gonna be the next thing. And so that way it kind of sits a little lower and whatnot. I think finally what I'll probably end up doing is changing out the mufflers. So it kind of gives it that that aggressive muscle car sound, but at the same time, it's not necessarily a muscle car. It's not, but it does have that. It can have that performance of a muscle car, which is the one thing why I loved about it. Anyways, loved about it. So like, yep, that's what I want. That's what I want to do. So those are pretty much within the next year or two. Those are going to be my two big things I'm going to do. Two big projects I want to do for my car. Yeah. No, and again, that's good. That's real good. That's real good. And again, because the car I got a Pontiac G8, like base model Pontiac G8, and I only paid, like I said, I paid 9,000 for mine. And and even then, you know, with the guy, because they wanted like 9.5 for it. Originally they wanted 9.5. I was like, well, what's the lowest you can go? Because I'm going to pay cash for it as it is anyways. And the dude kind of looked at me kind of weird, like, wait, so you're not going to make payments? I'm like, oh no, like no. Like I'll have the cash for it like next day, I just need to know what's the lowest you can absolutely go with the fees and this and that and the third all attached to it. So when I come and give you this cashier's check, you just give me the keys and I'm gone. And so he kind of looked at me again. He's like, "Oh, well, hold on. Let me go talk to my manager, and I'll come back and I'll give you the numbers and everything else." So I'm like, okay, cool, great. So he came back with the numbers and this and the third, and he said, "Well, he's like, here's what we can do." He said, "Because we're in the business of making money and this and the third." He said, "I know you're quite short," and he was like, "And I know this is pretty much the car that you want." Like, yeah, yeah. Like, so what we could do is I could sell it to you on paper for like, 8.2 and some change. And so when we add on like the dealer fees, the title, the registration, all other blah blah blahness, it comes up to 9,000 even. Would that work? Yep. I will see you tomorrow in the morning. And sure enough, I showed up that same day, the next day in the morning, with the cashier's check in my hand, like, "Hey, run me them keys. I want my car. Want my car." Like, okay, cool. So I got in that bad boy and I took off on it. Immediately, I was like, don't feel right because it cut off on me. Like, you know what? Let me go get an oil change. Got an oil change and got my oil change. And even the people at the place that did my oil change, they was like, "Oh no. Oh no, bruh. Ain't no plead the fifth on this one." Like, I kid you not. Like, the missus was there with me when she got the car. So ain't no pleading the fifth on ain't no plead the fifth. Like, that's literally how I bought my car because I bought my car on my birthday. Like, I bought my car on my birthday. So I can't make like none of this I can't make. I really can't. And so when I took it on the highway, it kind of cut off on me. So I kind of took it off and got my oil change. Of course, called the miss, like, "Hey, I got to get an oil change. Something's going on in my car." Like, "But you just bought it." Like, "I know, but I think I just need a good oil change because it's probably been sitting on the car a lot for God knows how long. And let me get an oil change, see what it's going to do." Took it to one of the quick lubes, the Valvoline quick lubes, and even the people in there, they're like, "Whoa, you just got this car?" Like, "Yeah, I just bought it like not too long ago." They was like, "We don't see a whole lot of these cars on the road." And he's like, "Well, how many miles ago?" And I told him like it's like only like 143,000. The dude looked at me, he's like, "Really? That's it?" Like, dude, yeah, like that's what I said too. Like, that's it, only 143. So him and his buddies were, you can hear them talking like outside. Like, I can't hear them. Like, I can hear y'all talking. They're like, "Yeah, there's only a handful of these out in production." It's like, with this one, this is probably like the V6 engine in there. And so it gets this amount of torque, this amount of horsepower, and you could probably stick on the highway and they could probably do like 100 miles an hour easy and whatnots and blah, blah, blah. It's like, man, I done seen people tricked out their G8s and it just looks totally different what they bought it for. And da da da. And so I'm in the driver's side, just cheesing from ear to ear, like, "Oh yeah, y'all read my mind." So roll it off, got on the highway, and sure enough, I did 100. I'm not even gonna cap on that. I floored it. Did 100 going down 131, floored it. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, like I cannot believe I got this car." And so I'm saying this on camera. Yes, I've done 100 miles an hour in my car. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, probably about 4 or 5 times. I've done it easy. And I love the thrill of it ever since. So that's my spill. So Toby, you, sir, I'm just going to say you find you a car that you like, that you enjoy, that you want, and you do what you got to do. And enjoy the living crud out of it. Enjoy it. And especially when you pay that joker off, definitely enjoy the living crud out of it. Enjoy it.
Yeah. No, I really hope to. Like, that Civic that I had, I mean, it gave me problems at various times, a lot of annoying things. And I found out recently because I didn't do your dream as you would otherwise never. Oh man, the Birdman thing. No, like I didn't really research properly what years were good for what cars. I was so blind the first time, and I thought I did a lot of research on cars when I first went in, but I really didn't know anything. Even now, I'm like, there's so much I don't know, but I feel way more confident. I'm gonna give a quick shout out to YAA, Your Advocate Alliance, which I've only heard of, but I've been seeing a bunch of their YouTube videos. They're pretty entertaining. It's like a father and son, and sometimes they bring in other people who, like, the father was a dealer. He did everything. He was on the lot. He was a sales manager. He was a sales associate. He was a sales manager. He did like a lot of stuff. And then one of the finance managers, the people in the back office who try to rip you off of more money. One of them, who's a former finance manager, Kimberly, she often comes in too to talk about what not to do when you're in the back. And so they have a lot of great advice. If you look up Your Advocate Alliance, I was binge watching a bit of their videos over the weekend and a little bit last week, and some of the evenings I had available. And so then they have some good resources online, some free, some that you have to pay for, to like get better quotes, better deals on everything from repair, maintenance, extended warranties, insurance, and of course the actual car quotes, seeing what's fair for what cars based on zip code and other inventory. There's even community reviews of like what dealerships are good or not. So yeah. But I mean, it's there's definitely a lot to sort of. There's a lot of things that I've looked up, and there's things I could still know, but I feel so much more armed and equipped that I hope whatever car I do have will be a lot more. It will be something that I can really like drive the crud out of it. I think the last car. It turns out that the 2016 Honda Civic was actually one of. It's not the worst year. Like the worst year is probably like 2007 or 2003, but it was relatively one of the worst years, like in terms of consumer complaints for the new generation. The 2016 was pretty bad. So I was happy, I mean, it's the fact that I had that car, whatever. I would not get that same car again. I don't even think I want to get a Civic because the prices of Civics are insane right now. Like $30,000 is pretty much the lowest price you can find for a Honda Civic. $30,000, $31,000 easily for a Honda freaking Civic. Now this is like what do you call it? This is like the out the door price. So after all the maintenance and fees, not maintenance, after all the whatever you call them, the taxes,
fees, taxes.
Yep. Once you get all those fees, the out the door price is easily 29 to 31,000, which is just disgusting. Because they don't make the lower trim of Honda Civics anymore. They stopped making the LX. Greedy bastards. Basically, a lot of people are doing this where they don't want to make some of their lower trims because they don't make enough money from the lower trims. So the manufacturers are making higher trims. And I was really surprised because I was like, why would you guys get rid of the LX? Like the EX is popular, don't get me wrong, but the LX isn't bad. And so now that means the cheapest Honda Civic is the sport version. And I don't usually care to buy the sport versions of the cars unless, I don't know, I just never cared. I want more efficiency in terms of fuel versus the power, the horsepower, the liter engines. Those have been a lot less important to me than the actual mileage and everything. So it is what it is. Civics are canceled. I've canceled Honda Civics, which is sad because that was my first car. Toyota Corollas might be okay, but they're a bit small and a little under-equipped for what you would get. And so besides those two, that's why I was looking into the Mazda at one point. But Rocky thankfully told me that they're actually more expensive on maintenance. I think it was Rocky, but someone mentioned that their maintenance is a lot more expensive. So that's good to know because I don't want to be being broke, bankrupt or whatever. I don't want to be paying out the wazoo just for maintenance costs. So it is what it is. Hyundai has a pretty good warranty compared to even like Nissan and some others. I think you do have to have like the certified, right? Because if you buy just any old used Hyundai, you might not be able to take advantage of those warranties. But it's like 7 years, 100,000 or whatever miles. 7 years is pretty long. Like 5 years is more normal. So, oops, almost dropped something. And yes, we are back.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm on my phone right now. I'm letting my laptop update, so who the hell knows how long that's going to take. But yeah, no, this shit was driving me crazy. Like, am I coming in fine now?
You're still freezing, and you sound a bit.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Like
Something with, like,
your I was gonna say, like the picture quality is better,
okay.
but it almost it seems like as though whatever's going on, that connection piece. Wait, you might be good now. You might be good now.
Okay, just let me. One second. My camera. That's normal.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm okay now.
Okay.
No. Well, it's like it freezes at points.
It's like yes and no.
Now you're really frozen.
Yes.
Now you're really okay. Now it's
I'm gonna Wi-Fi. I have to probably like restart that shit. That's weird. It's like whatever. This streaming doesn't like me today.
You know what, StreamYard? Let L be great for like,
I know.
30 more minutes. Like 30, 45 minutes, because we want to hear the adventures of L. Like, we want to hear her adventures in like South Florida post Ian and all that other good stuff. Oh Lord. Did she drop on us?
Oh, now she really froze. Oh, now it's pixelated. Yikes!
Oh,
it's like a Black Mirror, like a Black Mirror fuzzy screen.
I just turned off my Wi-Fi to connect to the data. I don't know if that would. I don't know if that made it.
That in theory should, as long as you have a strong like 5G connection or whatever.
Right.
My personal tower at home is like connected to Wi-Fi, so I don't know if they made a difference.
Yeah, it's
yeah, I have no idea what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've been there, unfortunately, where I'm just like, why is this happening?
Mm-hmm. Ditto.
I unplug my computer and it'll start going whack on me.
Yeah.
Hopefully my computer doesn't start freezing. Okay. Sometimes it does.
No, you're good. You're good.
Good.
I mean, I could talk quickly. So, if you can hear me, so yeah, like on Friday I went out with a friend. We hit up like a couple of spots, and we actually didn't drink any alcohol, which was nice. Like, she's trying not to drink, and I'm trying to drink less, so it was kind of perfect. I ended up running into a guy that I've been talking to online, like on Hinge and stuff. And then we decided to just meet the next day because we were supposed to meet yesterday anyway. So we ended up meeting Saturday. It was okay. It was just weird because, I haven't been on the date in like a year, like on purpose, but it just sort of happened. And I don't really particularly mind because I was just like really just working on myself for the past year, like, working out, personal trainer, therapy, and all that. So it was just how fast like a year just sort of went by, and like just how different of a person I am. So it's like, okay, I guess I'm more ready to date. So like it was all right. Let me think. I got new shower curtains. I got rid of them from Amazon, so like they came today, so I put them up right before I came on the street. And it's funny how something so small can make you feel so good. So yeah, no, I'm happy.
So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Right. Gotta love new shower curtains.
Yeah, that's what I did. I haven't gotten new ones since my flooding. I was able to get some of my roommate's old ones that she didn't need anymore, and they were like freshly washed. Same thing with her shower mat. So I haven't bought new ones because unfortunately my spare mat I had actually used in my bathroom when I moved here, and of course the flooding knocked both of them out. And then my shower curtain and liner, which I also didn't have both of them in my old apartment. I only had one or the other, and then I had conveniently put both of them in this apartment, thinking, "Oh, I'm going to upgrade and properly have a shower curtain and liner." And then the sewage knocked both of those out, so I'm just like uselessness. So now I'm like, I have to buy new ones, both curtains and liners. And I haven't. So I just have a curtain right now that again is like my roommate's, and I've been just using that since like July, August, really August, because that's when things got fixed in my bathroom. So that is a pretty big step. I remember when I ordered mine on Amazon, my shower mat and my shower curtain, back in like what was it, May? No, I moved to my first apartment in Massachusetts, March of 2019. And I remember ordering them because I was actually traveling for a conference. Oh, in Detroit. So that's when I went to the NESB National Convention. My first time in Massachusetts, my first time in Michigan. And then as soon as I came back, I had my shower curtain just waiting for me in my package. Because I literally moved to that apartment like the weekend before, so I literally didn't have a shower curtain. So I was like, it was a little bit shaky. I was like, how am I supposed to shower properly? we kind of were. It was a little shaky, but I think I literally a Saturday, and then I flew to that conference on a Wednesday. So it was only a few days. Still kind of like I should probably have had it ready. So I just love it. Just Amazon.
Yeah.
You need something.
Like
Or I just
it's true though.
Using Shipt to get stuff from Target. I think Shipt has a few other options where I live now, but when I used Shipt in my old place, it was pretty much just Target that I could get, and Target was good. I liked buying stuff from Target. It was just
sure.
Less selection than Walmart or Market Basket.
And way less selection than Amazon, of course.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Like I like to get like funny shower curtains. But yeah, I got a shower curtain and a shower curtain liner. And like new hooks for the shower curtains and shower curtain liner. So I'm just feeling a lot more fancy. But like my shower curtain says, it's like a picture of like a shower head, and it says, "Every naked person I see turns me on."
You said what about every naked person turns you on? I missed the beginning.
Okay, so there's a picture of a shower head, and the shower head is saying, every naked person I see turns me on.
I'm done.
I love it. I love it.
I'm just gonna start collecting some of these. Are you a shower curtain? Because your naked body. Oh my god, you just gave me such a great pickup line. Amazing.
Like, am I a shower head? It's like, I'm a shower head, and you're naked, and every naked body turns me on, or something. I don't know.
That's amazing, actually.
Yeah, it was funny, and I saw some really funny ones, like dinosaurs and like a cat riding a whale, and it's just kind of fun. Like, oh, next time I'll get more creative. I just have like a lot of different shower curtains.
Right, that's all right. That's clever. That's clever. That's clever. So, who wants to introduce tonight's topic? Between
because I can't, because I'm like barely alive.
Barely alive in terms of digitally. You're right. You're kind of correct on that one.
Tell me this. This is technically kind of your show-ish, but whatever.
Yeah. I've been waiting. I didn't even know if this was the best week to use this, but I had to use it somewhere this month because you guys know that we've been talking about cuffing season all month long. We've had some great conversations. Whether it was kind of like the dating scene or like what we kind of, I don't know, we've talked about different things, and the conversations have gone in different directions, which is great. Last week, of course, we got to get a little bit in depth on what we learned. Oh, I think sex ed was the first month, and then we kind of got a little personal. First week, thank you. Then last week, I should say, we got to talk a bit about our own personal experiences and some of the things that we've, you know, because that one was like, it wasn't you up, but it was about the law of attraction. So a bit of the attractive and stuff, the things that we kind of were attracted to, or maybe even turn offs. And so now we get to talk about, first of all, it was like the art of, actually it was Let Me Talk To You, because we wanted to go a little bit into the actual dating dynamic of like what we've learned. You might call it like guy code, what we kind of have learned dating women, girls, what y'all have learned dating men, or vice versa. However, it is like, what have you kind of learned? Lessons learned from dating, or even like your situations, situationships, whatever ships. I always say relationships, situationships, or whatever shipwrecks that we get ourselves into.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah, I'm dead. Also, by the next.
No, you're not.
Okay. I can't chat with my phone, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. So
We got you.
Kind of going into also some of the lingo when it comes to dating, because dating has changed a lot. I mean, there was always concepts of like people, pickup artists, and there's certain smooth talking lingo that we use to describe some of like the dating scene. But now things have blown up because of social media, dating apps, or even just like, you see memes on Instagram, Twitter, wherever, and you kind of feel like the landscape has changed a bit. People can be a little more selective because people's standards might be a bit more. You can rely less on a partner to get what you need. Also, just like car buying is not the great example because we're in a shortage. But in terms of being able to buy things nationwide, you can not just rely on like your local neighborhood. I guess like I don't want to be too vulgar with it, but like you don't have to rely just on your local, like, okay, I'm just gonna date this person. And nothing wrong with finding someone locally that you like, and maybe it's a high school sweetheart, of course. But I think sometimes there are like not great perceptions where it's like I need to get out of my hometown because what you're finding is not always of the best quality. And so now we kind of have a lot more options and selectivity. And so I think like some of these different dynamics are a bit of what we're talking about. A dating Venn diagram, women's side and men's side, and similarities in the middle. So do you mean like what women and men sort of experience from their dating, and then what is similar on like what they're looking for, like their values, maybe their hardships?
Maybe just experiences.
Yeah, I guess like the overlap is a big thing. Like I was kind of interested in learning it from like what is the other perspective like? In fact, another thing that I think Elle had brought up before was, or I'm trying to remember which one of you guys, but about like having female friends even, right? So a lot of platonic friendships, and of course having male friends for you, ladies. So it's like a lot of those platonic friendships will also teach you a bit about what they're looking for, because you might talk to them about their relationship problems or about girls they find attractive. And so I think some of those like dating experiences can be secondhand, right? Where it's not just you, but it's also like you're good friends of the opposite sex or whatever, and you can kind of glean a bit. I mean, shoot, I was just on the phone with two friends, one yesterday. All of them were female friends. One yesterday, two today, and like I had some very interesting conversations just hearing them talking about things they were looking for and things that they had experienced maybe with an ex. And I'm like, it is always really interesting to hear stuff like that because you don't necessarily hear it from your boys, right? They're not necessarily talking about the relationships,
What they're doing.
what they're doing, and so you have to kind of hear the tea from your female friends. And that's been even like years ago when I remember that happening. I'm like, wow, very eye opening.
Do you want to share any, or you don't feel comfortable sharing?
Yeah, so sure. I excited. I wanted to kind of lay it a little generally before taking over, but this is actually a good time because I did mention sometime earlier that like a good friend of mine, she was talking about an ex that she has and how her ex basically, you know, he was living with her. I mean, she has an apartment. And the housing's a bit cheaper just because it's like public housing in a city of Massachusetts. And so, you know, like it wasn't like a terrible burden for him, especially like if he had his own place. He was young, like maybe 21. So it's not like he probably had much experience being on his own. But if he was getting his own place in Massachusetts, easily paying $1,200, that's like shanty. Like 1,400 is pretty normal for a 1 bedroom. 1,500 is like, yeah, you unfortunately that just might be what you do if you don't have roommates. So paying 600 is really cheap. And so the guy was living with the girl, and I guess at some point he was asking her to pay for like bills and stuff. For instance, has some kind of
Yep. Out of the day. We got time today. We got time today.
I'm dead. Yeah, I'm so dead.
Hey, Gil. What's happening? Yay.
Chilling with Gil.
Oh yeah, everybody's showing up. Let's go.
Oh my god, I need to find all those comments. The ones that were like, someone would be like those oblivious like people are very much trying to like. Oh yeah, what was the one about like beat up the kitty? I'm like, I would never. That's like animal abuse. I need to find all those comments and make like a thread compilation of like oblivious me. Oh my god. But so my friend though, the one who, and she's Dominican, so she was saying that like in our culture that doesn't happen, right? She was born here, so she's first generation. So was the other guy who was also mixed Hispanic, but like I don't know. I guess he didn't fully understand. He's just a little younger. The girl's closer to my age. She's like a year younger than me, so she's like 26. The guy is like 22. So I mean, there's a bit of a gap, right? And so she was kind of just telling me like, "Yo, you know, this is not really acceptable to like." I mean, maybe like she was fine. The way she put it was, I can pay for certain things as a woman, like my own car bill, my own phone bill, but like when it comes to house things, apartment, rent, utilities, which some of them were included because it was public housing anyway. It was like, hey, what's up, my boy Marky Mark? It was just kind of like she basically was like, that's not acceptable. So they kind of, I mean, there was already like different cracks and strains, I think, in the relationship, but I thought that was like interesting how like that kind of blew up because there's certain expectations, right? And this is kind of a heated topic, I think, when it comes to paying. I wish I had my friend Nate. He actually used to be in the chat, and he's someone I know personally because he had an interesting comment he made on my story once. Like it had to be like a year ago or more, and he was very against the idea of like, I don't want to misrepresent what he's saying, but like in terms of just being used basically as a free meal by going on dates and stuff. And I mean, there are some cases where, of course, you're in a committed relationship, you might decide to take that on, that expense, because maybe you're relying on her to make the place a home, right? And I don't know how you feel about that, but I've actually found some younger people, even my age or younger, who actually seem pretty like okay with the idea of the woman will come in the man's home, help make it like a home, be fine with cooking and whatever. But some people
like, of course they would be okay with that. Like who wouldn't want a maid that they also fuck? Like what are you talking about?
I mean, of course,
I would love it. Like I as a woman would love it if a guy were to come and just cook and clean for me. Are you kidding? Right? Why wouldn't I want that?
But
who doesn't want that?
Woman doing this. Because my friend is saying that she was the one. Technically, the guy moved in with her, but she would have been the one doing all the cooking and cleaning and stuff. But vice versa, the woman could move in with a guy, and it would still be that dynamic. There's the guy always at your girl's crib while she tries to reassure you. He's like my brother. I mean, maybe if you live in, I shouldn't say that. Sorry to offend some people from this, but maybe if you live in Alabama. But anyways, I that's all about that one.
Oh man, Toby got time today, y'all. Toby got time.
Oh man.
That
But I
man
mean,
time.
that was just one example. I mean, there's other things
Right.
that I've heard from friends. Like, you know, you hear about guys that you might have thought were cool, but it turns out they were low key a creep. There are people who've done some things that are like across the line where it's like, you know, girls are drunk and guys are not, you know, they don't have boundaries, and so they're doing things that very well could be assault or more. And so you hear about things where it's like stories that you wouldn't know unless you had some like good friends tell you. And so, I mean, that's a little bit outside the just dating, but sometimes you hear about certain things, or you hear about, of course, people who are possibly cheating, or maybe it's not even an official relationship, but there are guys who, I don't know. I've just heard so many things where I'm like, dang, I wouldn't even known all of these things, stuff was happening unless I heard the tea. Actually, I was in a car with some of my girlfriends Columbus Day weekend, so that was last weekend, or you know, like a week ago, and I remember they had some rules. They were like, there were some red flags. Some of them I took personally because one of them was like, if he's an African man, that's red flag number one. All I could say is, if you've been hurt by an African man, that's not my business. I'm sorry. It's very unfortunate.
Compensation.
Say that again.
You may be entitled for compensation.
You might be entitled for compensation. Yes, I've seen that for like Nigerian men. I've seen it for Haitian men. I think Haitian men are probably the most notorious when it comes to like reputation for like being a hoe.
Yeah, like Haitian Caribbean men for sure. For sure. Yeah. That's just true though. I don't even
It's like, it's unfortunate, but it's there. And so like you, like they said, like red flag number two, like he's like, I'm not dating anyone, or I'm not basically effing anyone who lives in his mom's basement. And I'm just like, God dang. Sorry, Gil. You're definitely in the chat, and I really just came for your whole people.
Him
wow.
and man. He's all
yeah, I don't know why people hate cancer so much. Like, I think cancer men in particular, cancer women. I have a lot of good friends who are cancers. They're, you know, they're cool, but also can be a little bit. There's, you know, when that switch goes up, it's gone. I'm Haitian and I'm, that's double dangerous.
Man.
And Geminis, I've heard, are also a bit crazy too. Like, I think Jeffrey Dahmer was a Gemini, and so were some other people. Kanye might be. I'm just like, I'm sorry, but clearly there's people who have been. Well, Jeffrey Dahmer's in his own class. I saw one funny TikTok. It was like, here are the top 5 like problems with dating a Gemini, and it showed like 5 different famous people, and then it said, if you don't handle all of these things, it will end up leading to a Jeffrey Dahmer. And he's like, my son, he was like, my 5-year-old son is in Taekwondo classes or jiu-jitsu right now because I know if he doesn't.
Uh-oh.
Did Toby catch my internet?
Oh no, Toby! I know. I'm trying to pull this other one up for Chad because this was hilarious.
To me, that's funny.
Yes. Toby, are you with us?
Yeah. I don't know. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I guess you got whatever I had.
Yikes.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay.
Man, I'm telling you. Yes. Yeah. Rest in peace to Toby. that means.
Oh my God. Thank you, Toby.
Yes.
He's probably, rumors have it that he's still talking to this day.
Listen, that's the rumor, and it could be true.
Oh yeah, his computer probably did. Yeah, he's got a joke.
I mean, he did say that too. Like it could be a very tragic thing. Yes, yes, yes. So, yeah, we got that time today. We got that type of time. We got that type of energy. I love it. I love Tuesdays. I love my Tuesday nights. Love my Tuesday nights. Full of laughter, full of good people, good times. It's like, yes. Yes. Oh, so L, how we going to just like segue this, because you know our host just ditched us and whatnot. So
Like what was he talking about again? Like no, like he was doing this thing when he was like climbing. Like the topic. Like
oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. That's my bad. I mean, I could, I guess, talk about like my dating experiences. Toby's saying his Wi-Fi went out.
Oh,
That's
ouch,
Wi-Fi.
man.
Yeah,
Internet companies need to step up.
I know. What the fuck? But yeah, my dating experiences, like what I've, well, for one, like, you know, getting a guy from like the dating app off of the dating app is already like, it could be kind of like pulling teeth in a way. I don't know what exactly has happened, if it's because of like my age or I don't know, men nowadays, I feel like it just takes longer. Because it's not like I was, like I said, like it's been like a year. And it's not like I wasn't on these. Yes. All right. Hopefully, you come back soon, Toby.
Right, right.
And it's not like I wasn't on these dating apps. I definitely wasn't as active on them as I was when I was like in like my, you know, like mid to late 20s. You hear my confessions, but I like referring to him. Updating my laptop. They're saying that there's still shit that wasn't updated. Like, why did you take? Anyway, so yeah, like I don't know. I don't know if I was just like way more, like wasn't like maybe not vetting them as well as I am, or if like guys just weren't vetting them, or because like I'm older and like the guys are just kind of different. Because like when you're older, I guess, you know, guys are probably like looking for a wife now or something, or they're probably afraid that I'm looking for a husband, so they're just being very tentative. Like whatever reason, everybody's just, you know, hella casual, which is fine. You know, like I'd be lying if I also wasn't looking for that. You know, just like a person and all that. But it's just sometimes it's hard to just get the guy from the app to, you know, to meet in person. Like, first of all, you have to like vet through a lot of guys, and a lot of these guys are like idiots. And it's just, like real talk, it's like, oh, he has a, you know, college degree, he has like a good job, and you know, like talking to him is like I'm losing brain cells. It's like I might as well have just gone out drinking. And then you're like, what? You have? How do you ran into one of my?
Wow.
What?
I don't know.
Like, tell me that story. How come? What? Okay. Okay. Yeah, like, oh, right. That's true. This was like this guy that Gil works with. Like, I went on a date with him years ago. I think I was probably like 24, 25, and he was very good looking. He's a very good looking guy, great body. You know, it's just like talking to him was just kind of annoying because he was he pretty much is like my biggest pet peeve, my biggest turn off when it comes to talking to men, and like it's almost as if, because like so many men do this, it's like it's just going to just be my fate. Am I just gonna be just forever slightly peeved and uncomfortable in a relationship? Or God, I hope not. Like what he would do is like would just constantly interrupt me and then just talk forever after interrupting me. And it's like I don't want to sit here and like fight for my place in a conversation, you know. Like it gets like exhausting. It feels like I'm like having a battle with you. You're just casually like this is just how you converse. I'm like, I don't get it. Like I don't understand how, I don't know, people have just like normalize that, because it's not just with men. I see this, like, you know, like even when I converse with women, you know, pretty much anyone, that kind of shit happens. But it's just so fucking aggravating how that's just, it's almost like to be expected. Like when I go on a date sometimes, even the date that I went on Saturday, like, you know, like he wasn't talking like too much sometimes, and like I guess this is how I felt. Like I would, you know, like I felt like I asked him like a lot of questions, because like you can kind of tell when it's gonna start to get to like an awkward, like an awkward silence, because it's like if I don't ask anything, he's not. So it just gets like kind of awkward, and like, and it's like it's already a first date. Nobody likes this, but it's like we have to. We just gotta get through this. Like we agreed to meet at this time, you know, at this place. Let's just, you know, let's just talk. Yeah, especially, yeah. I feel like in any situation, but like on a one-on-one situation, especially on a first date, and you're trying to, you know, see if you like this person or not, if you can get along with them, like it can be really hard. And honestly, like nobody's perfect. Like it's okay to be awkward and, you know, like unsure of what to say next, but you know, like I'm so good at talking. That's true. Like I understand it could be difficult, but you know, this is gonna sound corny, but it's all right. Like, look up some questions to ask. There are so many. Like, I know it sounds a little awkward, but it works. The strong silent types. I am not really. I'm not really a fan. Like, I don't necessarily like am turned off by that. Like I feel like even like my date was kind of like, I feel like he was like a strong silent type, because he was like, you know, he was pretty tall, he was big, and I would say he was like quiet or anything really, but I could tell that he's like, I don't know, maybe like a second date might be better. I don't know. Just like in the interior, there's trouble. Yeah, exactly. But a strong silent type. No. I'm not saying like I want somebody that's like super talkative either. Yeah, because like those types can be pretty like intimidating. Like you have nothing to say, nothing going on in your brain. But like I would prefer someone who is honestly, he just has to be interested in me, like interested in actually getting to know me, and like I don't know, like I mean this is gonna sound strange or sad, but like sometimes I wonder if men actually like women. Yeah, like you might like fucking us, and you might fall in love with us, but do you actually like me? Do you like us? Do you like what, you know, like 100 episodes? Exactly, nothing less. Nothing less.
Sheesh.
Podcast has to be 1.5 each. Like, yeah, like I don't know if like it seems like a lot of men don't really like women. It's almost as if, you know, like our existence, and I've seen it in like in other relationships. I've seen it like even just like interacting and, you know, like dating men. I've seen it in like, you know, people on TikTok complain about it. I don't want to like exactly just like use TikTok as like a solid research foundation, you know, as if I'm doing like in like, you know, like a source, like an MLA format sort of thing. But, you know, like even like with my own dad, pretty much like, you know, like I've seen it like in men where it just seems like they have a woman and it's almost like they just have the woman to just fulfill a role. I think I'll end up like that's true. That's true. Yeah, like 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 it just seems as though like men would want to marry a woman just sort of just like check off something on like their list of life achievements to do. And it's like, okay, can she just fulfill this role? It's like, okay, I have a kid. Can she also take care of my kid, you know, who I have full custody of or something? Can she cook? Can she clean? Can she like take care of me essentially? Can she do certain things? And like, is she pretty? And then it's like, all right, cool, life. And but it's like, well, does she have like a quirky personality? Yeah, I was thinking, I was like, I think I might know what you're talking about, Gil. I was like, does she have like a quirky personality? Does she, is she like just incredibly wise? Is she, you know, like fun? Like, does she, like what? Is there like a cool hobby that she has and you just like love that for her? Like it may not be your cup of tea, but you just love that for her. Do you actually genuinely enjoy talking to her or do you just talk at her? Is she just a pretty face to talk at? And then when she tries to say things and like communicate her needs, her, you know, her problems, her issues, are you being receptive or is she just a nuisance? Is she just, you know, a pain in the ass? Like if you think about how, you know, like marriage is described like the old ball and chain and like, oh, this and that, like man, my wife, or like if a wife is describing a husband and like they have 2 kids, it's like, well, I have 3 kids at home, including my husband. It's like, it sounds like you have a worthless husband. It sounds like you have a very incompetent husband. And there's like a lot of like negative terminology and stereotypes when it comes to like, especially heterosexual cisgender marriage. So like, you know, it almost seems like people aren't doing the work to have a really strong like just relationship. What did Chad say?
Oh, I'll turn it back. There you go.
Okay, sorry, this is on my phone. So, we need to return to tradition. Is her family politically powerful? Does she have huge tracts of land? I mean, it does like that's what I'm afraid of when it comes to dating. Like that's what I'm afraid of is like if I accidentally fall for someone like that. I wonder if part of it could be that most guys can't get away with just saying, "Hey, don't talk. I'm just trying to smash," so they go through it from the. Oh, for sure, absolutely. Guys front all the time, and it's kind of annoying because there are women out there who just want casual sex, and there are, like I can speak as some people don't know even though they're married. Yeah.
Woo! Come on, Gil.
Right.
Come on, Gil. Come on, Gil. Yes, sir. He ain't lying. Oh no, he ain't lying. He is not lying. Whoo! No, he ain't.
Yeah, that's a word for sure. That is true. Like, I'm not married, nor have I been close, but like, it's just
This one too.
Yeah. Like if you're gonna spend like it's I don't know if people just see it as like a job, like just like, oh, this is just my at-home career, this is my coworker wife, and like it's like, no, you gotta like her, you gotta enjoy spending time with her, you gotta like listen to her needs, you gotta like, it's just like I don't want to just fulfill a role, and I do feel as though, and it's like because of social media and like podcasts and bullshit, we're all just yeah, I agree. Just I see like marriage and relationships as like the blind leading the blind, and you just have to kind of create the relationship that you want to create the world, rather than it's like, hey, I want my relationship to look like this. You just have to, fit into the mold that I want. It's like, I feel like it's just pushing a round peg into a square hole. So it's like, hey, how about you just, try to create something as best as possible instead of trying to like live out a fantasy or just exist each day until we die, Mm-hmm. Can you imagine some golden era romantic love that never existed? Yeah. Yeah. A lot of guys want husband benefits without the pain of being a husband, and a lot of women want to be brides but don't want to be wedded. Yeah.
Interesting.
You gotta like her. Yeah.
Oh, this one here. This one here.
These are gems.
This one here.
Some real quotes.
Mm-hmm.
These are some real quotes.
Okay. What does AFK stand for?
Pretty sure it's
away from keyboard.
Yeah.
Away from keyboard.
Oh. It's like, oh, away from keyboard. Yeah.
That's actually really great. They solo while the partner levels up or casually. Yo,
it's true.
That's crazy.
Like I see that shit a lot. Like, and I feel as though women, and definitely I want to hear like from the men's perspective. But like I feel as though like women, because like we've always been like second, like second place, or just like kind of like it didn't have as many rights as men and all that. Like we've always been like like marriage was like our ride out of like for freedom. Like like, but essentially like marriage was like the only way for like a woman to get like a level of freedom, when that wasn't the fucking case at all. And then like thanks to Roe v. Wade, those lovely 50 years that we had, and like the birth control pill, and women being able to go to college and university and everything, like women were now able to just like level up because we weren't just forced to be looked like lesser, like pretty much like useless, just for the home, I should say, rather. Like we were able to actually I guess, participate in the economy. But which is, fantastic. I'm not gonna deny that. But also, like, we are still like taught that whole, oh, you gotta get married, you gotta have kids, you gotta do that, you gotta do all that. And so we're sort of like, okay, we feel pressured to be like a perfect woman, a perfect person. So like, there's a lot of just like self-help or like communities for women, like groups for women to help each other out, to help us like advance, to help us like gain like hobbies and interests. And like, I feel like we're just sort of leveling up. And I guess like, I don't know if it's because men always kind of had access to these things in a way, maybe not like just like women's groups, but just access to anything. They probably didn't really feel the need to participate in these things because they always had access to it. I don't know. I guess what I'm essentially saying is I always felt like the onus was on women to just be like indelible almost. To just be like immaculate, to be just perfect for men. Like we were always trying to like have a great body for men, have a like be a certain personality, have like a certain thing, like pretty much for that, or just technically for ourselves. When we realized that we could just kind of do things for ourselves, and men didn't really need to, I guess in a way, impress women because simply being a man with a job was enough. And since that's like not enough anymore, they have to like show personality and this and that. And so like marriage is starting to look a lot different because now you actually have to like women, whereas women were just the person who's just going to bear your children and take care of the house. So I hope I made sense. I think I brought it together. But
you're good. I'm catching up on a little bit of stuff and trying to listen to everything and hear everything.
Oh man, yeah.
Mentally, I still have a gap.
Y'all bringing the heat.
You said you have what now?
Y'all, yeah. What's up?
No, I just didn't catch what you said.
Oh, I was saying no. It's like everybody's bringing the heat, like, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Because,
I've definitely seen that before. I don't do like computer gaming, so I mean, go ahead, judge away. That's fine. That's fine.
I actually never played computer games either.
Like I feel like you're thinking AFK was like some sort of Call of Duty shit. Like I'll take that. I'll probably take that.
Oh no, but you know what? Side note, like computer games are fun. I have a few of them on my computer that I play from time to time. Primarily, I primarily do Grand Theft Auto RP. I do that a lot, so that was like the main reason. The secondary reason for me getting this computer was for that, and then I got a battle royale shooter that just came out, like fairly new. It's fairly good. I like it. So I'll play that in a little bit, or not in a little bit. I'll play that whenever I have time. Actually, I got time. Just gotta make time. So going back to the chat.
Yeah.
Ooh wee, man.
So I do like how you put what the role is in quotations. Like I think the best way to find your role is really just figure yourself out. Like I would say to like figure yourself out, figure out what it is that you like, what is it that you like to do, which like how to just kind of uplift and progress yourself. Because like because like I wouldn't say exactly where you're lacking. I mean, and definitely, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I don't like if your spouse or your significant other should definitely compliment you, but you should also like have some stuff in common that you can, spend time together. Like it doesn't have to be everything. It can just be like one or two things. Like you guys to just watch movies together or check out different restaurants together or just, I don't know, do things around the house together. Like if you're decorating or even like if you're getting your kitchen done or something, like just have like one or two things that you guys like doing together. But also, yeah, so like find someone that definitely like compliments you, but like don't be don't be so shitty that you need somebody so incredible to just deal with your shittiness that you don't even bother trying to fix or reverse or like if a guy is like perpetually angry, if he has like some sort of anger issues, or he just like kind of blows up or just has like a tantrum or a temper, fucking fix that, dude. You're a grown ass man, like you're not a child, like we don't have time for that. Like if you're trying to have kids and raise a family, we can't just be so like we can't just be like walking on eggshells because I don't know, like the microwave isn't microwaving that well today, It's like, all right, come on, man. Like, I don't know, use the oven, use the stove. Like come on, like, bro, like we got other shit to do. Sorry that your burrito isn't warming up too well.
Listen, better learn how to use that stove top, make some oatmeal, some cream wheat, some cocoa wheat, call it a day. Hey, kudos, double points if you can make some grits, bacon and eggs. Boom, breakfast.
I will say, and I mean, next month we can go into this more, but grits were never a thing for me. I definitely never ate oatmeal in my life. Like Quaker Oats or whatever, it was like hot oatmeal. That just always texture, everything seemed wrong about that. Grits, sorry, but it just didn't seem right. Grits, maybe I've eaten, but it wasn't like a regular thing. I didn't know about it until probably college. Probably had it at dining hall, which is always the worst place to try new food because it's gonna, of course, not be the best quality. But anyway, I do hope I can have real shrimp and grits or whatever, cheese and grits. That's like proper. Yeah. Yeah, I really thought I knew it all at different points in life. And I'm like, why did I think I knew anything? I wasn't even a high school graduate, and I thought I figured out so much in life. Yikes.
I know. It's like, yeah, no, it's annoying. And like, what? Yeah, have you ever heard like the term mansplaining? Like, it's a true thing. Like, sometimes I would just say something, and then, especially, I see it on Twitter a lot too, where they just like comment my comments and start like explaining things to me. I'm like, why the fuck? Like, this is. I didn't ask for this. I can understand if I had a question about something, but if I'm just like, oh man, this book has taken me a long time to read, they'll just like start explaining how to read faster or something. I'm like, that's not what I was talking about. It's like maybe the book is just really heavy in terms of like a heavy topic or heavy subject matter. It's taken me a long time to read it. Maybe it's just really fucking boring. But that's like an example. Guys, when you date, stop asking, what do you bring to the table? Ladies, when you date, please stop asking, what's your next
What do you bring to the table? I've never asked a woman that, but apparently that's a big thing. I've seen some great TikToks that are like, if there's one Nigerian woman was like, please, if you have any question that has to do with asking of a table and what items I bring to it, that is a big no. Like it was really funny. She was like all these things that are big turnoffs and some turn-ons. Some things I was like, yo, that's kind of not fair. Like those are some not fair accusations. One person was like, if you celebrate your birthday and you're a man, don't talk to me. If you have a Snapchat, I was like, huh? I'm personally attacked. I But I've never asked a woman what they bring to the table, so that's at least 1+ going for me.
Yeah, that's such a weird. I never been asked that, but that's such an odd thing to ask. Because like, what are you trying? What is the correct answer to that? Like, like I feel like when I hear like what you bring to the table seems very like monetary, and it's like or like, so it's like, hey, like for me, it's like I feel like I would bring a lot. It's like, hey, I'm a homeowner, like I have hobbies and interests. I'm like working on different projects and stuff like that. Like I'm funny. Like apparently that's not a common thing in women. Like it's like, but like I feel as though those men who ask shit like that will probably want something that's more traditional. I hate that term traditional because it's very like rooted within like this country, like what's considered traditional, and it's never good for for those with vagina. It's never good for women. Like oh well, the guy would probably just want a woman who could like cook and clean and not show emotion or like just be like, oh, everything's okay, honey, while he has like his little baby temper tantrum. And or he just I don't know, just leave him alone or just give him like a plate of food while he's playing video games every day and just assume that that's just going to be my life as if I'm not really like an autonomous human being. Like I'm not just the black best friend in every 90s movie, like I have that story, I have interests. I've said this on this podcast, on this live stream several times. Like I'm a whole ass person.
Hey.
Like I'm a whole ass person too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Too much shit is transactional on paper. Relationships are not a multiple choice test, man. Our culture is fill out the form to the skills and the skills. I know. Like I feel like we're very like on demand culture. We think we know what we want, but like when it comes to like love and relationships and dating, it's like you can't. I don't know. Like it could be very different. Like it's not as like on demand. Like yeah, you can update your resume and get a better job or something, or like like a little bit like faster. You could have enough money to move out of your parents' house. That could be very like instant and quick. Well, what do you mean by this? I'm trying to ask him, where in the world is that not the traditional type of relationship? Like I've heard of, and I meant to like research this before the stream, but I've heard of like matriarchal. I don't know if it was tribes or countries or like towns in Africa where it's like a matriarchal type of relationship where it's like expected for the sex for the man to touch the woman until she ejaculates. That's like to be expected. Like I've heard that before.
Wait, what was that about? Until she ejaculates?
That like, it's expected for her to be pleasured until she finishes, and because you've heard of female ejaculation, I'm sure you'll have. That's like to be expected. I've heard this before. Like I think it was like where it's like a matriarchal like Africa, like area place in Africa, probably like way back in the day. So that's kind of like what I was what I was thinking in my brain. But I don't know how long ago that was. I don't know if that's still something that happens, but that's tradition somewhere, but, that's what I was thinking. It was low-key a little like joke for me. But myself, what I
mean, not wrong for asking.
This transaction.
Right. Right, that's business. Like I mean, they say that like marriage is a business, but it's not like it's like who would you go into business with? You know, it's not like I have my business and my spouse has his business and like we're competing businesses or like we're businesses that have combined and we have two separate things. Like no, it's like it's the same business. Like we're both co-CEOs, sort of thing. Oh sure, polyandry was originally in the. Okay, yeah, that's true. Polyandry, yeah, polyandry. That's one woman, multiple men. Polygamy is one man, multiple women, and then polyamory is just multiple partners. But polyandry, you know, like if it wasn't a thing, it wouldn't be a word, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, unicorns exist. Well, the word unicorn exists, but we don't know if unicorns never existed though.
So we never know if they didn't exist. Huh.
We don't know that.
That's true.
Same thing with dragons.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ooh-wee. What else
I know
was
that.
say? Go ahead.
Yeah, go on. No. What were you gonna say?
Sheesh. Backtracking to a lot because there was a lot of things said, a lot of takes being said, and right. It's so.
I can dream.
It could happen.
I mean, for the most part, yeah. When I look at myself, what'd you say?
I said it can happen in my world.
There you go.
Mm.
There you go. A whole world that's elves. That's her whole world. Bam. And so backtracking, maybe a lot of it, maybe a little bit. I don't know for sure, but I know one thing that was brought up. Excuse me, was the fact that when it comes to the, I guess the quote unquote traditional relationships, it's like it's one thing where within the relationship it's very plain, basic, where it really happens. There's no adventure, there's no nothing and everything else. And even then, backtracking to where it's like the typical gender roles are basically put in places like go sure. Wouldn't it be if you cook every now and then, or you clean, or you get involved with the family? Like a lot of the things that should be taken in as a partnership, you know. And the one thing I know when me and my wife got married, we were like, yeah, we're going to flip this concept idea of traditional relationship, and we're going to flip it on its head because it's like, and I told her like, listen, you know, the way how I was raised was sure man goes to work and everything else, like, but at the same time, if I go to work and I come home and the house is a mess, don't get mad if I work, you know, 8-10 hours. I come home and clean. And for me, cleaning is very therapeutic. Very therapeutic for me.
Yeah, it can be definitely cathartic. I think it's the word I think of. But don't tell me my thing froze again. I see.
No, I think it's wrong. So I was just like,
Okay,
no.
because you were frozen a little bit. I think because you were just like silent and your thing was already cutting out. And then I was like, oh my God, they both froze. That means I froze. But no, it turns out that Ron just.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just like the way he looks too, like almost like the SpongeBob meme where it's like, all right, I'm about to head out, where your eyes are kind of dim glow. It's like Ron's just like, well, time for me to head out of the stream. I'm like, dang, we didn't even hit 2 hours yet.
We're almost there. We're 5 minutes there.
Yeah, we're really close.
But yeah, Toby, you were saying that like cleaning. I guess everybody's just having bad internet.
It can be cathartic. Oh shoot, he's off. Okay.
Yeah. Some sort of internet virus.
Yeah.
But you're saying that cleaning is like cathartic?
Yeah, I was mostly just piggybacking off Ron because I heard a pause, so I was just like, yeah, I find it cathartic, and I found out, oh shoot, he actually froze. But cleaning can be, but I missed a little bit. Like I think I wasn't mentally fully following how we got to that point exactly. So I'm not sure what the last thing to piggyback off of is.
I think what Ron was trying to say is that usually it's like traditionally the woman's role to like, just clean the place even after coming home from work. It's often known as the second shift, but it's mainly like for mothers where, both parents are out of the house, working, and then both parents come home. However, it's usually the I don't call it burden, but like the responsibility of cleaning the home and cooking for the kids and for the husband, for the family. Like the responsibility tends to fall on the mother, the woman, the wife. So like I believe that's what Ron was getting at. Like, and there's been like studies and things like that too. That's like kind of where the second shift like originated. Like they found out that like women primarily are the ones who still have to, take care of the home, whereas like the man doesn't. And so like Ron is saying that how he was raised, he's just if he sees something dirty, he just knows to clean it, sort of thing.
Okay. But yeah, you kind of take on that, so you're not leaving it one-sided to just be like, okay, I'm just gonna like leave my stuff all over. I'm gonna leave things and just hope the maid picks up after. Rather, you really take ownership that it's your house too, and you
exactly. Like I've been, just kind of noticing and appreciating what my mom has done. Like when I was, especially like when I was a kid growing up in the household, and also like when she was living with me for like 2.5 years. Like I'm really starting to like really see and like appreciate. Like I know it seems late to like notice this, but like I guess how it was communicated to me just wasn't, like when my mom would tell me to do things around the house, it wasn't really like, there wasn't really like a reason behind it. I remember one year after college, like she would ask me to do things, and I would just ask like, oh, why? Like I legit just wanted to know, like, it's like, oh, why do you feel that the trash bin is full? Like I don't see it as full. Why do you see it as full? Like as an example. And she wouldn't give an explanation. She'd be like, "What are you talking about? It is full." It's like I think it could be a little bit more. Like I remember she and I had like this little argument that I realized, like, oh, her level of tidiness is different than mine. It's not like mine is wrong. It's just mine just looks different than hers. But she wouldn't. I don't think she really knew how to like convey that, or she probably just thought it was just super obvious. Or she probably just thought I was like, like dunce or something. Like typical like Jamaican parents. But like, like the fact that she worked, every day. She barely like she would take like a day off here and there, you know, like she did take time off, but like she would never like take like 2-3 days off in a row, you know, like she never really like would give herself a vacation or, you know, something like that. Whereas like my dad, I know he had like 20 paid time off days because I know that he would just take a week off like 4 times a year and or something like that or twice, I don't know. And so he would like take his time off like that, but he would actually just rest. Like he wasn't really, you know, whereas like my mom would take like one day off and, you know, probably use that time to like cook and clean and, you know, like catch up on things around the house. My dad would actually would just rest. Not to say like he wasn't like helping, but it definitely wasn't to the extent as my mom, you know, like, and definitely like after work every evening. You know, sometimes my dad would come home early, but like, you know, I'm trying to even think like on like the few days he would come home early, like if he would, you know, clean or start preparing food. Maybe if he had like fish, that was kind of like his thing. But there were several nights where like he would just come home really fucking late, and you know, like, and it always like, you know, like when you grow up in that household, you're just sort of like, okay, that's just how it is. You know, you don't really realize that, you know, like, oh, my dad is like taking advantage of my mom a lot in terms of, you know, the fact that he trusts her enough to come home at a reasonable hour and pretty much take care of the kids, you know, cook and clean and take care of the house and the kids while, you know, he's just doing whatever. Because, you know, like, mind you, this was like some of this was like before cell phones were like readily available, you know. This was like,
right.
You know, like my dad, because like he felt like since he was a man, sometimes he's like he doesn't have to answer his wife or answer to his wife because it's just like some bullshit traditional thing that, you know, he probably just conjured up in his mind. So he's like, oh, if I answer to my wife, that makes me lesser than, and or like it puts her like, no, it's just some bullshit that doesn't really fucking matter. Like, I wholeheartedly agree with Gil, like, not to believe in gender roles. Like, but you know, like when I think about that, like what my dad would do, and this is like what I'm saying, is like it was like, to me it's like not even like that bad of a thing, because it's just like, you know, like the household that I just grew up in, I just, you know, it was just like normal. But like, you know, thinking back on it, I was like, oh, actually it was really like fucking shitty of him to do. Like that was like enormously shitty. And then, you know, but like, what can I do? I'm a kid. So, and like my mom is just dealing with it. So it's like, there's nothing I could really do. It's like, this is just the norm, unfortunately. But, you know, now that I'm like living like on my own again, and, you know, I've been like cooking for myself and making sure things are like cleaner, you know, like I feel like I'm just taking more pride in all my own things. Like it's gonna take a special kind of dick for me to like let that fall to the wayside, you know? like, I would have to be like heavily dignitized to just have a guy kind of just show up in my life and just, you know, have dishes in the sink overnight kind of thing, or you know, just, I don't know, just let like the cleanliness. Like I'm not saying like my place is, you know, supposed to be perfect or anything, but like but I also feel like I'm a little bit biased because it is like my home. It's just like the likelihood of, you know, the guy also being a homeowner is a little low.
But you said your what's a little low?
like the likelihood of like my future husband, my future partner being also a homeowner is a little low.
I see.
Like, I'm not saying it's impossible, but you know, it's just you know, the likelihood isn't high. So he would most likely move in with me if you know if we were to get serious, and if he doesn't try to help at all because he just feels some type of way, it's like, well, it is her home, and blah blah. I was like, nope. If you expect me to sell my place, like if we get married, you expect me to sell my place so we could buy a home together while your ass wasn't even helping out in my home, think again, buddy. Like that's just my opinion. Like I
Interesting.
like it's like if you know like if you know where the washer and dryer are and you've been using it, but if you're like still wanting me to do your laundry, or you're not like, or you just like leave the clothes in the dryer and totally forget about it, or if my clothes are in the dryer and I'm like gone because I don't know, I probably had to like dash out the house or something, and you see that there's clothes in the dryer and you don't like take them out, or you know, like if you don't like kind of help the house run, like if the dishes are dirty and you know that I'm coming home with groceries to cook and you're just gonna let the pots and pans and shit be dirty, like it's like, yeah, it's kind of like, come on, dude, like just think one step ahead. Just think, don't think a whole day ahead. It's like, all right, it's 5 p.m. I'm gonna have dinner at like 7:30. What needs to happen for dinner to happen? Like, but these are the things that I'm learning. And I agree. Yeah, no, teamwork. So why didn't you put those dishes in the dishwasher? Helicopter dick. What was I saying?
Yeah.
Oh, can you highlight some of these comments? I can't.
Yeah. Sorry, I actually wasn't even up like where the new comments were, so I need to like go way back down to where. Actually, I didn't even see some of these way back 15 minutes ago. The Gray Sweatpant Island, I'm guessing.
Yeah. That's where all the dreams come true.
Guys, women most desire would cut too many of each other. Interesting.
Rocky, I totally would be cool with a house husband. That like I wouldn't mind that at all. Like, yeah, I'd be totally fine with that. Like, and it's not even necessarily like he has to cook and clean every day, and you know, just like it, you know, ideally, of course, he would have to, you know, like take care of the house while I'm like working all day, you know, especially if I'm gone from the home. But yeah, I'd be totally fine with a house husband, you know, if he's, you know, like if he has like hobbies, if he's working on things, you know, if he like, yeah, I'd be totally fine with a house husband, like, and like just as long as you know he's, you know, helping to maintain the home. And I'm not saying like I will just never just relinquish all of my responsibilities to him. No, you know, it's a team, like, you know, it's a team effort. Like we're working to make this household function together. So, you know, like if he was home all day and like I come home and I see like the toilet dirty, I'll just clean the toilet. Because I'm like, you know what? Whatever. Like if he was doing absolutely nothing, you know, and like if this was like for like several days, you know, like I would definitely want to talk to him. Like not to like get angry, but just be like, hey, you know, like I've noticed some stuff has been happening. Like one day, okay, you know, whatever happens. 2 days, okay, 3 days. I'm like, is everything okay, honey? Like, I don't want to sound like, you know, I don't want to just like make, I wouldn't want to make him feel like, you know, I don't want to make him feel like he's at him, you know, like I wouldn't want him to make him feel like he's useless. Like if he's Like, if certain things are just sort of like kind of falling to the wayside and like things seem to be happening, I'll be like, is everything okay though? I love that comment.
Oh yeah, because this is So I was hearing you answer some of these questions, but I wasn't seeing them in real time. Like the thing about the house husband, Billy Stock.
Yeah, I'd be totally. Would you guys be cool with a housewife?
Yeah, it's hard to even imagine like really in like a marriage and what that would look like, but if I had like a stable career, and the money's coming in right, and I mean, it's possible. I just think it's interesting because a lot of people I know, I mean, it depends. Some women, it really varies. Like a lot of people I knew from school or like professional, whatever, very well probably make more than me. Some of them, a lot of them are older than me. Some of them are higher up in their careers. Like one good friend of mine, she's probably 4 years older than me. Maybe, about 4 years. She just got her PhD. Like a year ago and just started working near the Boston area. And so I knew her from grad school. She went to grad school in a neighboring town where I went to grad school. And through like Black grad student stuff, we met. And now and she was talking about like her salary, and I'm like, dang, you really boom, like came up on me. So I feel like it's hard to imagine just someone who's just a housewife. And I'm not saying just like it's not an important rule, but in terms of like so many people I know are high career, where it's like I figured I would probably be attracted to someone in that area where they're like at the top of their career game. They could be a PhD or whatever high degree you could think of. Maybe not like an executive. I mean, that'd be crazy if I, bagged an executive in like Walmart, pun intended. Assuming there was like a woman CEO at Walmart or Target. But I mean, it's very possible, right? Because there are people even who are working professional women who are like, at this point, I don't want to work. I literally, like, I've seen people say this, like, I do not want to work. I'm fine to like be taken care of and pampered, right? So there are women who are professionals and they do make money and they do support themselves as young professionals, especially a lot of young Black professional women I see. And then they do want that sort of like taking care of this. So it is possible to find someone who is like high career and then they still end up wanting to be a housewife. But I'm not sure, like, I just imagine it right now. Like a good friend of mine, I mean, we really haven't kept in touch, but she's actually been here like in the comments on the stream at one point. My good friend Gabby, and I also met through like Nesby Black Engineering, and she was talking about how she, what was she saying? How like I mean, I don't know if she's still dating the person, but she was dating the guy, and she was saying how low key the rules are reversed for them. I guess they may have lived together, or at least they visited each other a lot. And she very much was like working a lot, with her engineering job, which required her to be in the field even in COVID because it was like environmental engineering. So you're on construction sites and stuff. And then he would low key be at home cooking and taking care of stuff. And so you might have that kind of dynamic. I mean, I can't even imagine if I was the one doing that. I don't know if you want me to take care of the house. I don't know if that's the move, given how disorganized. And actually, I don't know if you can hear this right now.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, great. So, because I've like listened to the podcast, but like I would always like get interrupted, so I didn't finish. But I was giving it a listen again today, and I was like, when you were saying like some of the stuff right about traits you noticed in your mom and how that carried over to guys you talked to with like being like certain disorganized and clutter, I was like, I feel called out personally, but it makes sense though, like that. No, it was good. It was interesting to hear that insight, and it was like such a psychological connection where because you noticed that frustration a lot growing up, or at least in your early adult years, you kind of am like, I can't be with a guy like this, who can't, be organized and is not going to be able to take over the house. In fact, when you had dropped off earlier with your computer internet issue, me and Ron were talking shortly after, and I was kind of like, basically, we're picking up the conversation how it's like, guys who. Oh no, actually, was it the other way around when Ron dropped off and you and Mia were talking about how it's like having a guy who is recognized, like cognizant that there are problems in the house, and you can essentially take ownership of the house and make it yours and clean after yourself, and that's very attractive. It's very good to sort of have those skills independently rather than relying on, oh, I need a woman who's going to be able to do XYZ thing because I cannot, or vice versa. You as a woman maybe can't do certain things, and so you rely on the husband. And ideally, everyone, I guess, learns enough of the skills to take care of themselves, but then you kind of match the best way when you come together and you sort of decide what you want to do primarily. But everyone hopefully can do a little bit of everything. Though I know some people have strong opinions about paying for like bills and stuff, like some interesting opinions. But like, you know, my parents work. My dad was usually the breadwinner because he was a professor in university. Then he was like an engineer doing stuff. And my mom was a substitute teacher. Then she did get fully accredited in the state of Maryland to become a permanent high school teacher. But of course, the disparities are just so much because we don't value public education as much as we should in this country. And so I don't know her salary, but I definitely know it's not anywhere near what my dad's is. And so I'm used to seeing like a 2-parent household where both work. I can't even imagine. I mean, granted, I don't ask them the exact finances of, oh, well, how much money do you guys contribute towards the bills? I feel like it's a little weird. But my oldest sister actually said she was a little privy to it. So I might have to ask her because she said that low key. And I've seen this meme about like immigrant families and how the oldest sister basically happy Mother's Day to the oldest sisters because you basically were a second mom. And my oldest sister was saying apparently how like there was certain dynamics where she would be privy to certain financial strains. Gotcha. And this was like when she was maybe 12, if even maybe 11 or 10. And so like I was bringing that up because shoot, I really hope I didn't lose the point of that. Oh yeah, I was saying how it would be a little weird for me to ask my parents about some of the financial stuff, but it might give me an insight into like what people are looking for, because some people are so like absolutely no pain for, you know, women will not pay a single bill, maybe their own if they really want to take care of their own cell phone or something, but like they're basically going to be carried, like kind of back to the Gills analogy with you know, the games, you know, someone soloing, or they're like, I heard the term jungling, I think is a big thing in League of Legends and Dota. Like people are doing all these things, basically carrying the household, at least in terms financially. Yeah. And I don't know, like what that looks like for me. Like, will I be making enough realistically to pay a whole, like one good friend of mine, the same Dominican friend who was telling me her woes with this her ex, she was saying how like if you're a man and you're used to paying for yourself, then like you're still paying the same rent unless you're really getting a bigger place. But if you have enough space to accommodate a girl, you're paying the same rent. You're still, you know, you're paying for food a little bit more for another person, but you're still paying for the food. And of course, you're paying if you're driving around for gas in a car, and plus the girl could have her own car. So the idea is you're not really taking on that much more for her to come in. And if she's going to actually like attempt to work herself and make money, and that money can be, first of all, hers, but then also it could be for fun and expenses. So if we guys want to do something fun together, she can bring in that money, but not to split where her money is now actually going towards the cost, especially if the disparity is there where the woman's making a lot less than the man, but she's trying to make up the bill, like evenly split a bill, even with significantly less income, if it's less income. And so I don't know how I feel about it, honestly. Like, again, I feel like a lot of my friends are such working professionals where a lot of them make more than me, where I'm like, I couldn't imagine just being the only person to like take care of the whole household. If I'm already talking to someone who makes more than me, and I'm like, wait, I need your job. And then like I was like, but then also it's like the power couple thing, right? A lot of people talk about the power couple. We're both engineers, or you're a lawyer and I'm a doctor, whatever. It is a lot, right? Your schedules are going to be crazy, I'm sure. I saw this one post from Humans of New York way years ago. Like that was back when I used to see Facebook posts from that page all the time, maybe like before 2016. And this was about how there was a guy who was a corporate lawyer for like Coca-Cola, and he wanted to go to like a vacation in like France or somewhere in Europe and take, like, I think he had a dog and like family, and then I don't know, they weren't willing to give him any of the time off. He was working 80 hours a week, so he literally quit, got up, and took this month-long or weeks-long vacation. I don't know exactly what happened afterwards, but a lot of people were happy for him, and it's like, yeah, good, right? Because if you do work these big corporate jobs and you're trying to play power couple, it is very difficult, right? To try to like, have that time off to spend quality. And so, yeah, in that case, having a housewife or being a house husband or whatever could be beneficial, where you at least know you're going to see that person at home and have the quality time with them at home without having to worry about their stress of like work. But I don't know. I said a lot of things, but I think I'm not sold 100% on like having just a housewife. But I don't know realistically how to juggle and manage the dual career pressure. Let me catch up on all these chats. Oh my God, this is about to be a lot.
Yeah. I was like, like, you know, like, well, if she's at home, you know, doing the work, like that is work. That is, you know, a job. I feel like people kind of, because like it doesn't pay, therefore there's no value in it. So sometimes it gets kind of like seen as lesser than, but I've been hearing how like domestic labor is labor. And like, you know, it's true. Like it's hard. Like just like taking care of myself healthily is difficult. Like I can't imagine, you know, like working all day, coming home, and then having a grown-ass man who is capable of, you know, doing things, like just not helping. Like
It's not that, yeah.
And that's like why a lot of women are, like I've been hearing like a lot of women have been like divorcing their spouses, especially like during the pandemic. I think there was like a rise because, you know, like they would come home from work every day and like, you know, cook and clean and all that, and like, you know, the man was like, oh, he can just rest. I understand. It's hard day rest. And then when everybody was working from home, she actually, like the wife would actually see what the husband was actually doing at work, and you realize it's like not much. You know? Like, and he's just still not really helping. So I don't know if that's just my side of TikTok. That's what's been showing me. But you know, like it's so funny because technically my parents got divorced during the pandemic. It was at the very beginning. It wasn't because of the pandemic. It was
snap.
But it was a lot of like the qualms that, you know, my mom had with my father, and also like, you know, just throughout the years, and like what even I've like seen from, you know, like just like the, you know, not the shitty part. Like it's just like the if it was like if like the shitty like abuse wasn't even in the equation, it was just like him. He still would just be a shitty husband, you know, like because he still wasn't like really helping out in the home, and still just, you know, just pushing patriarchal ideals and like just not really helping. Like I was telling my mom this the other day, where I just sort of felt like us kids, it's not like, you know, it's not like he like doesn't love us, like he loves us, of course, but like it just sort of felt like we were just roommates, and he was just sort of waiting for us to like leave, where it's just like he just like very minimal contact, very minimal like engagement in terms of like care and parenting. And it was just kind of like, when I think back on it, I was just like, yeah, I just had a dad who just sort of existed in the home and like didn't really try to, you know, like parent or anything. I don't know if like, but like hearing like a lot of like women's stories on TikTok, especially like, you know, like women who've gotten divorced and everything, it like, I'm starting to realize that like my situation wasn't even as bad, you know, like not as bad, but like it wasn't unique, I guess I should say. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize like a lot of men were actually like this. That they just, I don't know, like having really nothing to live for and not really liking their lives and just assuming that them coming home with a paycheck was like fantastic. You know, it's I remember my dad would even say, like, whenever my parents were arguing, my dad would be like, you know, like he could be worse. And he would like say that. And it's like, why are you always striving to be worse? Why not strive to be better? And it just sort of made me realize, like, you're out here barely doing the bare minimum. And like how are you satisfied with life? Like, because sorry if this is going all over the place, but
you good.
Hear of like men being in like long-term relationships with women like not being married or something like that. Like for whatever reason, whenever I hear about stuff like the onus always falls on like the woman. Guys would be like, oh yeah, the reason why he's not marrying her is that she's still like on the bench. Like if this was like I don't know, like a sports reference or like, you know, like he doesn't want to come in because of something pretty much like her. And it's like that sounds like a him problem to me. Because I'm like, why are you so okay with wasting everyone's time? It's not even just her time; it's his time
too. Right.
And like when they say like, oh well, she's doing wife things on like a girlfriend budget or whatever, like you know, like some kind of shit like that, and it's like, but he's wasting his own time too. Like, what is that? Like, it's like I don't understand. Like, he doesn't have an infinite amount of time either. You know, like it's not. I don't know. Like, I understand. Like when they say like men age gracefully, it's like yeah, but like I don't know. Like women's sex drive and our sex just gets better as we age, and that doesn't seem like a threat. Like, but. I don't know, like it was always like so confusing. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with men that they're just so okay with just wasting people's time? And of course, like women are at fault too. I'm not saying that at all. You know, just like staying with the man, hoping that he'll propose while, you know, like either just not making an ultimatum straight up because sometimes men do fucking need that. Like I don't care how that sounds. I don't give a shit. Like. She needs to know, like, hey, if you don't marry me by, it's like, okay, we've been together. It's like, okay, we've been together for 6-7 years. Do you want to get married? It's like, yeah, well, blah, blah, blah. It's like, all right, if you don't marry me by the next 6 months, I'm out. Because, like, what the fuck is the point? Like, if you think about it, like if you really think about it, it's like you're really fucking with your futures. Like, if he's out here just being with this woman faithfully, you know, like. Ideally, like let's just say, even if he's like not being faithful, or whatever, like he's with this woman for 6-7 years, and it's like, and like if she's like hinted marriage or mentioned marriage, and he just kind of brushes it off, and like when she starts like just straight up saying, he starts to feel some type of way, it's like, all right, then what the fuck is this then, you know? Like what is the point of this? Like if he said many a times that he doesn't believe in marriage, and she said many times that she believes in marriage, then both people are at fault. Both people are at fault. Like I don't care if it's like, well, the woman's at fault because she's the one who wanted the marriage and he's fine with how it is from what he says. It's like he's also cognizantly aware that she has verbalized this. He's also like at fault. She wants the next step, yeah, and she can leave, but it's like it's not just her fault. So like I don't know. So I know that this was like a random rant. It's just like really fucking annoying whenever I hear shit like this.
So I get the guy part, but you're saying the woman is at fault. Why? Like her by having an expectation, like basically by staying when she knows that she should have left a while ago, or what makes her at fault? Okay.
Yeah, by staying when she knows, because she's not listening to him either. Like if you know he has every right to choose never to get married. He can do that. Like, there's no loss against it. Some people, no matter like what your gender, what your background is, some people just don't ever want to get married. But like if he's voiced that several times, or that's definitely her fault. If he's like iffy about it, if he's like, yeah, like I wouldn't mind getting married, or if he's like, kind of wishy-washy, then I would say she needs to do like some sort of ultimatum. Just be like, hey, we've been together for 6 years. If you don't propose in 6 months, I'm gone. Like, it's not even like it's like you don't necessarily need to have a ring or whatever, but like like that's how I would be personally. It's like I couldn't just stay with someone who's like just wishy-washy. Maybe when I was younger, when I was like 24, I probably would have did like, yeah, you might change. And I agree, Gil. Some people are scared to commit, for sure.
Yeah, it's a fair commitment.
My dad, my dad's friends and my grandpa's peers definitely did not seem to enjoy their life when I was young. But they all did backbreaking type work or high pressure 80-hour week type stuff. So I guess I get it. Yeah, I mean, like when people think of like the quote unquote good old days, it's not like the men were happy either. I don't know. Like, like literally no one was happy with the economy. So I don't know. Like, yeah. But no, absolutely. Some people, some folks just are like afraid to commit. That's understandable. But it's like you gotta make that leap though. Like if that's like what both of you want, and like neither of you really want to, see anybody else, if y'all are like happy and y'all do want to get married, then it's like just get fucking engaged. It's scary, but like what we always say on the stream, do it scared.
Do it scared. That's a trademark.
Right. I don't think there's a single person who's gotten engaged and like wasn't scared, because that's fucking scary.
Yeah, there's definitely no like there's not. I mean, not there's nothing to prepare you for, but it's like you're oh my god, this is happening. Like it's a big decision outside of like even like going to college, getting a new job. I mean, there were big commitments that definitely are life changing, but it's so personal and so intimate when you're getting engaged, because you're going in with this one person and their family, because you marry the family too. It's not just kind of like, it's a university. I mean, yeah, those are big things, taking on maybe a lot of debt, but there's such a personal aspect to this. I mean, you change your name, right? Like if you're a woman, I mean, there's some guys who might do hyphenations, and of course, if it's like same sex, there's different ways, but you're still like you're taking on this person. I mean, depending on what you could look at it religiously, biblically. A woman leaves her family, and it goes. There's different societal kind of expectations that are pretty huge. Like, oh my God, you're married now. Like, there's a very big difference. And is this the right person? Forever is a long time.
Yeah.
But like, because you kind of have the idea you can leave a job. I mean, you might like it, but you might also feel comfortable. Like, yeah, I can leave it if I want. I get another car. I mean, a house usually is pretty long, but it's also an asset that you hold. You can pass it on. I mean, marriage is something else. Like, there are benefits and there's tax reasons, but like when it comes to like the emotional and the personal, it's like, is this what you want to get into? Especially if you're someone super indecisive, like. Like Chuckles, I'm in danger because I could be very indecisive. And so the idea of marriage and proposing is like, whoa, that's a lot, bro.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you. Like, I've been thinking about this lately, like how my greatest fear is just like, falling into like a marriage of just like ennui and like listlessness, I think is the term. Just like very humdrum, very boring, very like no excitement. I guess like even keel. That's like my fear of just. I guess my fear settling is very unsettling. Like just the thought of settling can be very unsettling. And it's not like, oh, I'll be with this person for the rest of my life. It's not necessarily the person, it's more so the everyday is what I'm kind of afraid of. Because you don't want it to, of course, like you're gonna get into like a routine and like it'll just be like the day to day, but then when the days start blending in together and you can't even tell, like it just starts to get really like boring. That's what I'm afraid of.
Oh, like the life loop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. I hear someone listening to my podcast.
I thought it was very, very just interesting and timely. I was like, this is actually, yes, I like this. The way, and there's some nerdy references you can make to loops and some other things, but I do think like that is like that humdrum that like kind of like the idea that you're in the suburb, this neighborhood, you're conforming like everyone else. You have the kids, you have the life, and you don't even know like where you kind of lost
yourself.
You lost yourself, right?
Yeah.
That's a very real thing. You want things to kind of be shaken up, not in a bad way. You don't need some kind of toxic thing to keep things interesting. That's not good. But having some kind of excitement, some kind of like something different. I don't know. The idea of marriage and kids is like when I was younger, I always kind of just assumed, yeah, of course, that's gonna happen. But then now as I get older, and I have 3 older siblings, none of which are married, none of which are even dating, that I'm like, it's less inevitable, and I feel like I actually have a bit more of a choice. Plus, I'm the youngest, which helps. Sorry, Al, but you're the youngest in your family.
Yeah, what do you mean? Sorry for not being the youngest boy.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the difference is that you're not the baby boy. Yeah. Wild one. Oh God! Wait a second. These comments got what's happening?
Yeah, man, you've been slipping. These comments been getting spicy.
Yeah, and I like what Gil said. The greatest mistake is the fear of making one.
Yeah,
that definitely creates stagnation. And actually, marriage does involve families. Yeah, each other's families. Yeah, not even necessarily making your own family. It's like, but that you're engaged, dude.
Occasionally break run. I'm dead. There was a comment up earlier too that I wanted to like trail. Also, oops, wrong keyboard. My computer keyboard. I
like Chad. Chad is funny.
I know. Yeah, I know. Oh yeah, like congratulations on your anniversary.
Oh yeah, congrats, definitely.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Flip side, you can't have it all either. Yeah, you can't have it all.
Can you bring up Rocky's comment or such a good point?
You said start. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. In today's time, there's no reason not to be straight up and tell all relevant parties exactly what you want because there's no social. I agree. Yeah, I mean, I think like the social shame, I feel like it's more so internally than externally. Well, I guess still like externally, definitely some cases in certain people, but it's not as like the repercussions aren't going to be as bad. It's not like everyone's going to tell the whole town that Al doesn't want kids or something. Like just it's more so just like, hey, I don't want to ever get married, or hey, I don't want to be settled with just one man or something. I don't know. You can't just straight up say that. It's like, hey, if you're not dating for the intent to marry, then I'm not doing it. Like that's fine too. Some people are I see it on dating apps all the time. Sometimes there are men who are just like looking for a relationship that'll hopefully turn into marriage. And then like some of their other responses to the questions within the dating app profile are like kind of problematic. So, it's like, oh, I'm looking for a wife. It's like, oh, swipe right if you like to cook and clean. I'm like, that doesn't sound like a win to me.
That doesn't sound like a fair trade to me, as Drake almost said in one of his songs. Yeah, there's no reason not to be. There needs to be some social shame. The relationship requires tact, not just saying whatever comes to mind. Yes, you have to communicate your needs, but it's not so simple. Yeah, I mean, social shame does help. Like, certain norms are there for a reason, and because the comment earlier that was like, there's basically no shame and people can say what they want. I mean, yeah, I can say both ways. Cutting out some of the like wasted time by being very direct, but then also having tact, like especially if you do want to pursue a relationship, then kind of like laying out your list of demands probably might not be the best way of going forward. I mean, it is good to be upfront in certain ways where you talk about what you like, what you don't, what's okay, what's not. But sometimes you might need a little more tact where you can't just exactly come out the gates gun blazing. But some people may say maybe we should. Press that now. There's no shame today. We're a post-shame society. I mean, in many ways, politics and the way people act. I mean, Kanye doesn't care at all. Like, he just says he does and says things. I mean, he's been like that for some time, but like, I think a lot of times there's not a lot of disrewards. I mean, cancel culture is a thing, I guess, but if you're powerful enough, it doesn't really matter what you do. And so you can kind of get away with and do whatever in some cases. And some people are just like, there's more benefit of being brash or being very upfront in certain ways, even if it's looked down upon societally, then because the negative shame or backlash just isn't there. I don't know. I'm just talking a little more generally. I'm trying to connect it back to this convo too. Now there was something that I saw earlier and I wanted to highlight it real quick. It was from a little bit ago, but if I could find it, I will. Because it felt like it was kind of a funny thing, but it was also kind of real. I think it had to do with like someone was like, the society, it's more of like a it's not multiple choice, but it's like a fill in the form type thing. And so there was an interesting thing that I saw someone say, someone who I met like in the pandemic, like probably August 2020, and I saw her post something, but I'm going to find this first just so that I know that, I'm referencing the correct thing. Okay, let's try to find this. But basically, my friend was like, I swear some of y'all men just want, and I quote, a pussy delivery factory. No, pussy delivery service is what she said. And low-key, I wanted to comment and say, you know what? You just gave me my next app idea. Call it... I'll come back with, I got it. But I'll keep it to myself for now.
Okay.
In case I actually forget it. You can call it Boxcar. Make of that what you want. So,
that's funny.
Probably illegal until sex work is legalized, but listen, you heard it here first, Boxcar.
I was thinking about making a dating app that's like based on, like kind of like where you are and your availability. Not necessarily like, oh, I'm at this exact location. It's like, hey, especially for like hybrid workers or people who work from home. Okay, during these hours, I am here to like have a cup of coffee or, come over or something. And like between, these hours on these days, I'm over here. Like something like that, or like in the area, in this, like, oh, on Saturdays I am at Ross every Saturday, like this particular Ross, this location. Like, no, it's like I'm in like this general vicinity, this city, sort of thing. But I don't know. I feel like that could be. And it depends on how big the city is and how big you want to have like your radius. So it's like, hey, during these times, I'm available. Too much shit is transactional on paper. Relationships are not a multiple choice test, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was just like, when I saw that, it was like kind of funny. Is like, I think this is one of the ones. It's like you want the Uber type of service, right? The everything now type service, and it's difficult. Obviously, dating apps is a whole breadth of things. By the way, someone told me that BLK, some of the girls are really down on there. So excuse me while I go and flesh out or create my BLK app after this. But I've heard BLK, Hinge. I don't know. I've heard different things about some different apps, and I never got too deeply in a lot of them. No pun intended. That I'm like really sure what is offered by some of those. But yeah, the instant gratification culture, which I saw a great like meme on Instagram where it's like Instagram, Twitter make you feel like there's a lot of fish in the sea, but trust me, a lot of it's not worth catching. Like everyone feels like you have options. We all feel like we have options.
Exactly.
There's no reason to commit. There's no reason to be. And I mean, in some ways, it's nice to be able to sort of like decide better for yourself that you're not just going to stick with one person that you feel like if you feel like, there's things that are not okay, lines crossed, certain things that are just unacceptable that are like, I'm okay with taking myself out and putting myself back in the dating pool. But then even in some cases, you will kind of never reach the certain ideal standard that maybe you hope for yourself. And you're always going to see a flaw in somebody. Like kind of like what you're saying, like, do you even like this person, right? And if you really don't even like the person, you kind of are like, well, here's the benefits. And then you start noticing the flaws and you're like, well, guess I'm out. Or you mentally check out, but still are there for the benefits, I guess. And that can go either way, of course.
Like it definitely depends on like who's benefiting. Like studies have shown that men who are married live longer than men who aren't married. And women who are married live a little longer than women who aren't, but it's not like a drastic difference. Or like I don't know, sometimes I've seen the data be like different. Like sometimes it's like very minuscule, or sometimes it's like kind of a little bit less minuscule. But usually throughout the board, men who are married live longer than men who don't get married. So I just feel as though, 9 times out of 10, like the man gets benefited more. I find it very ironic how men don't want to get married, but it's like you live longer if you do. Like, so, but I do feel as though it's because of just more of like the traditional gender roles that sometimes you sort of just fall into just to kind of make the home and the situation just sort of work. And just like women not really opening their mouths and like explaining to their husbands or their partners that say, hey, I would really like it if you helped around the house. Not necessarily helped, but like took care of the house. It's our home. Like this is a 2-person thing. This isn't for you to like help, or like don't expect me to tell you everything that needs to be done. Like you should know what needs to be done. Like if I have to sit here and tell you that the dishes are dirty every single time, or that the trash needs to be taken out every single time, like if you just can't know that, I feel like that would just be the equivalent of dating like a teenager. Like if you have to keep going behind them and being like, hey, like don't put your socks strewn around in the middle of the house. Hey, put your shoes on the shoe rack. Hey, like take the clothes out of the dryer. Don't forget. It's like, like it would just kind of drive me crazy because, and I've said this like a million times. It's just the whole you're a grown ass fucking adult factor. Like it just like baffles me. Like I've been like this my whole life where, I just found it to be very odd. I'm like men have every capability to cook too. Men have every capability to clean too. Men have every. It's like, why don't they?
Yeah.
Like, like you're getting called out, Toby, but
Oh no. I wasn't me like feeling some type of way. Actually, I mean, what you're saying makes a lot of sense. I was partly laughing because back in the comments,
oh, you even see these things.
I I think it was because when I was talking, I wasn't watching the comments, but I saw a very audible. Well, hold on. I think because the conversation jumped a little bit because I went backwards, and I think when I mentioned the the girl who really said, you know, basically a coochie delivery factory, or how she put it, and then I was looking at some of the comments. I think not this. Sorry, I'm still not even there yet. But this, when I'm reading here, makes like a lot of sense. People do things they know are wrong and then tell themselves to the world and be surprised when when there's consequences. But this, I'm assuming, was the conversation that we started to go to, and then I almost got myself in trouble by making y'all accessories to federal crimes. Material witness to crimes, please. I'm dead.
Yeah, that was funny. I get it now.
Pex Press. You know what? That almost reminds me of Pez, like a dispenser. Yo, that's wild. Like Carvana has cars dispensers, and we just have cat dispensers. Listen. Anyways, I'm just saying, I don't be surprised when y'all see me blowing up as the next what's the guy's name? Hugh Hefner without the problematic parts.
Let's try it.
The digital Hugh Hefner. Black Planet. I think I heard of it. Also, like people say this, but I haven't used Instagram in the you up type of way, so maybe I'm just missing out. Though I do think this is a call to seriously. Oh shoot, my keyboard is still. I keep using the wrong one. Well, you people are fantastic and lovely, as always.
Yeah.
Studies from the Lonely Woman Industrial Complex. What?
It wasn't from that. I'll find the studies and share them with them in the Discord.
The only problem with data is that it doesn't isolate what happens to the divorced men, which half of the married guys will wind up being. I have to go. Yeah, I have to go back honestly and try to catch, because there was so much going on. I think the study that you're talking about, I'm gonna need to see, because I think I was a little lost on context. They aren't grown though. Yeah, because that's when you talk about the teenager thing. You have to know without the problematic parts, but also tech pimp. Oh my god, not that. Dan Bilzerian, please never compare. I'm trying. I mean, maybe he is like living the life, but this man has like apparently, I don't know. He's done a lot, and I'm not sure I want to be on that lot. I'm just saying, making a platform where people can be independent contractors selling their services, in-home or delivery, and democratized. I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to. Who was it? Someone said, "L, that you're trying to get your backhand ready and practice your backhand on a sandbag." I'm not trying to be in need of using the backhand. That's crazy. I'll be a very benevolent, kind of like a benevolent dictator, but I'll be a benevolent pimp. Yeah. So I've heard that he was a fraud, like, or what's the word, a grifter, right? Like he apparently lost a lot of money in poker, or he like tried to make himself as something he wasn't. Yeah. I think the reason I even know of him is because of the whole grab him by the pussy thing. He had an Instagram picture where he literally was grabbing a woman by her parts shortly after Trump won. Like literally on a speedboat, and there was a woman like her leg up, and he was literally grabbing her crotch. And yeah, that was a crazy one. I mean, he made some. I think he had another shirt that was like America dumb F-istan, fill in the blanks for the F. The first time I actually saw that meme, it was showing that America was the blue states and dumb F-istan were the states that voted for Trump. But then I think Dan's version of it was that the Trump states were America and the blue ones were dumb F-istan. So this man, very controversial, and that's fine if you want to go ahead and do that. But it's one of those like if you weren't given attention as a child, then just say that, please. But at the same time, you're a grown adult, and if that's what you want to do for your brand, then do it. I don't think about him. Don't want him to live rent free in my head. I don't think I know who this is, but I'll have to look him up. Like an OnlyFans service for the real world. Yeah, I guess so. I guess you could call it that. Of course, obviously, but why didn't I think of OnlyFans? Speaking of, I mean, shoot, we could start an OnlyFans. Not anything questionable. Ron's like, I have to leave. Not anything questionable. We could just literally stream. I mean, what's her name? Didn't Bad Baby, like, when she turned 18, all the creeps who were waiting for her to turn 18 immediately subscribed to her OnlyFans. And then she just, like, ended up, like, posting videos of her, like, ranting about stuff. And people were, like, hoodwinked. Like, oh, my God, I wasted this money. And she's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, you better go ahead and, like, it's not even scam because people decided that they were going to pay for her services, and lo and behold, huh?
That was genius, though.
Yeah, it's very smart. And so we could add a OnlyFans. See if anyone wants to pay us.
Who are we trying to hoodwink, Toby?
I don't know.
Who are we trying to hoodwink?
I don't know. But I'll let you know if things are coming down the pipe. No pun intended. Man, I haven't even gotten into the best puns. That'll have to be for next week somehow. We're gonna make a return. The final week, we're gonna make a return of the thickly settled and all the things that you haven't even seen yet that I have been compiling like a dang C program. I don't know, that's my best line I could come up with in the moment. It's 11:58 p.m.
Yeah, no, we gotta turn in.
Yeah. We pay for X's Atomia's premium. Yes. Escorts for broke people. Yo. Low end. I don't want to call them low end, but I'll call Escort X, like Uber X, right? There's not like low end. It's just it's our base. It's our base trim. The base trim Escorts. Still reliable.
So in other words, you want a service for like budget-friendly people?
Budget-friendly escorts. There we go. That are reliable. Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry. that was but yeah, listen. Now we'll see what the next 8 year brings. By 2030, y'all will be hearing from me. Thank you, Gil. Appreciate you and your insights as always. Chad, good night as well. Everyone, good night, honestly. You guys have all been very great as always. Lots of interesting points, lots of interesting experiences. We literally could be here all night, as we clearly have been. But this is actually relatively early compared to the last 2 weeks where it was very close to 1 a.m. and very close to 4 hours at one point. And I was like, oh my God, I don't remember the last time we pushed above 3.5 hours of a stream. Today, we're like 2 minutes away from 3 hours, but we might not make it.
No, we don't need to. It's okay.
It's okay. We balanced it out the last 2 weeks. Virtual hug, Mish. Appreciate you.
Virtual hug.
Thank you to all the people. We had like 8, we had like up to 9 viewers at one point. And it's pretty late in the evening. So the fact that it's midnight, I guess West Coast people, y'all are still out there holding it down. But those of us watching, if people, I mean, you don't have to out yourselves, but thank you for the lurkers who are there in the back. Appreciate it too.
Mm-hmm.
Escorts X or Escorts. Everyone needs love on a budget. All right, let's get this. We're gonna put together these brands and trademarks, and it's going down. It's going down in the DM.
Okay.
All right, everyone have a great night. Love you all. See you next week. Take care.
Take care. Bye.